from my bum is for they cost $89. I got one from my grandpa and the same one from my father. Pin, all of these pin. How many miles if I lay them end to end?
Funny you should ask that. Assuming 5 inches per pen, 3.5 for the pen itself, 1.5 for the cap, and then simply multiply the number of pen, 1,600 times the total length of pen, 5 inches into 5 by 12 to get the number of feet, leaving with this. Oh my God. 666.666. That's the devil's number. That's the devil's number. That's the devil.
1,600 pen.
Now, guys, before we start episode 7, I have a guest I want to bring in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You might know her from Fargo, the TV show. You might know her from Vice Principals. You might know her... The TV show, yeah. You might know her from 1,600 Pen, the TV show. From 5 episodes playing Stacey Kim. Please welcome Susan Park.
Oh, Susan!
Susan, it's so nice to see you. Hello, I'm George Lucas, creator of Star Wars.
Hi, George. Nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you, Susan.
And I'm Watto. We've, Susan, for hours now we've been watching you on a bigger screen, and now we're watching you on the smaller screen.
Oh my goodness. Nice to meet you guys.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. How are you guys?
We're doing pretty good. We've raised $3,100 so far for the Museum of Moving Image. So we're cracking away at it.
We're getting close to having raised 2 1,600s.
Yes.
Yes.
We're trying to raise as many 1,600s today as we can.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we would love for it to be a clean multiple. That's the goal.
Yes.
So we're about to start watching episode 7, To the Ranch, which is an episode you're in.
I tried to click on the link. It's not letting me.
Is it not letting you log in? Let me here. I'll put it in the chat really quick. 1 second. You try one more time. Maybe it'll work this time because there might have been too many people logged on. Here, it's in that private chat for you. If it doesn't work, we can just talk about the show too. It's not.
Yeah. Now this is the last episode was called "Skip the Tour." Famously, there's a Star Wars ride at the Disney theme parks called Star Tours, which is unskippable.
Unskippable.
And now, episode 7, To the Ranch.
Yeah.
I live on a ranch. I live on Skywalker Ranch. So all of these titles feel like and I'm sure that everybody has this feeling in different ways that when you consume art, you make it oddly personal to yourself, but I feel like I was the target demo for this show.
Let's also make it clear, Star Tours is unskippable, but 1,600 Pen is very skippable in the sense that Skip is the main character.
Yes.
Oh.
1,600 pun.
It's a 1,600 pun. It's another 1,600 pun.
Did it go through that time for you?
Do you know what? I click on it and it doesn't let me.
Huh. I don't know. We could just talk about it too. It's not the end of the world.
And I can also describe certain things that are happening. For instance, I know that the indelible first image in this episode is of MSNBC's Chuck Todd.
Yeah.
And presumably doing material that is unique to the series. It was not actually part of the news.
Here, so let's Watto, George, and I will start it, and then we can chat while I'm going. You ready? 1, 2, 3. So Susan, how did you get involved with the show? Because you're on a solid chunk of episodes.
I auditioned for it, and I was really excited. How long ago was this?
2012.
Yeah.
Shot in 2012, aired in 2013.
Oh my goodness. So 2012, 8 years ago. That's insane.
Yeah.
And then I went back for Josh and the producers, and I was lucky enough that they gave me the job. And here I am with you guys.
It all comes full circle. Did they know when you auditioned that was the goal for it to be a recurring character, or was it designed as a one episode at that point?
I think it was a recurring because this character was supposed to be a love interest for Skip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's always, you feel the pressure in those auditions where they're like, it's not just one job, it might be more, it might be a lot, who knows, the show could run forever, you know, you could be Frasier, you could get bumped up to main cast.
a lot of pressure. A lot. I was sweating it big time. But they were so nice in the audition room, and casting director Debbie Zane was super nice, and yeah, it was a lot of fun.
That's great. People are asking in the chat. They love Snowpiercer, and they want me to ask you about Snowpiercer.
Okay.
You work on a lot of cold stuff because you're on Fargo too.
Mm.
Yeah.
A lot of cold stuff. What's going on with that?
I don't know, man.
But hey, let's not generalize. Susan has range. You've also been on Always Sunny in Hawaii 5-0, so you work in either climate.
Yeah. Always Sunny is this. I mean, you don't get sunnier than a show that's always sunny.
You worked on some of the hottest and the coldest shows in Hollywood.
Yeah.
You can do both.
Yeah.
Let's not pigeonhole.
Oh no! Wait, Susan, you're kissing someone right now.
Oh no!
Who am I kissing?
I think you just kissed a man and then got pushed into a closet, and Josh Skip was looking at you through a little blinds. I don't know.
Oh my God.
Now, when you read something like that, in a script, is there a part of you that's worried that it could be the end of your character's arc? That you could, how does it feel when you're discovering your character's plot lines and you don't have the guarantee of a certain number of episodes necessarily?
Right, like George planned out every episode in advance. He knew the entire Star Wars saga, and he just sat on it for about 35 years.
Yeah,
but this, I assume, is growing week by week.
Yeah. Do you know what? It was so long ago that I don't remember for this one specifically, but I guess you're always trying to guess where your character is going to go, and
Yeah.
I'm always sweating it.
No matter what the temperature of the show, whether it's a hot show or a cold show.
Yeah.
It could be freezing cold. I'm always anxious and sweating it.
Yeah. That's I feel like that's normal. That's healthy, right? That feels like a normal thing. Watto's an on-camera talent. Watto, do you sweat when you're worrying about jobs?
Oh, profusely. Watto's constantly getting shiny, having to call for touch-ups.
Yeah.
Watto's personal theory is Watto has found from his experience the actors who are sweating it are often the actors who are still doing the real work, and the actors who think they got it tend to be the people who are phoning it in a little bit. If you think you know what you're doing too much, you might be mailing it in,
Yeah.
It's good to still have a little fear in you. It's a good motivator.
It's good to constantly be at
Yes, right.
What's been your favorite show that you've worked on? Because you've done so many different shows. It's kind of crazy. What has there been any that really stand out as really positive experiences for you?
I would say I've learned so much from each job that I've had, and I've loved them all for different reasons.
Yeah.
Fargo, I think, sticks out because I got to work with people who I just that one I was sweating it big time.
Yeah.
It was just a really fun, smart show to work on, and then I love 1600 Penn. Again, fun. Snowpiercer, I love because I just love the cast so much, and I got to spend the most time with them, and they sort of feel like family of sorts. So yeah.
Now, did you on Fargo? It's been a few years since I've seen it. This is a spoiler for Fargo, everybody.
Everybody dies.
Everybody dies. You get killed in the travel agency, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did you get squibbed for that?
Squibbed?
It's like the exploding blood pack.
Oh, do you know what? That was actually a body double.
Ooh.
Oh.
Okay. All right.
George, like your buddy Brian's film.
Oh, that was yes. My pal and sometimes bully Brian De Palma.
A movie called Body Double.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, why was that? Was that because you weren't there, or it was just easier for the stunt?
It was because they mixed the bullets. Some were blank, some were actual real bullets, and so they didn't want to chance it because
They thought if they're going
film.
to use, they thought if it's real bullets, they should shoot someone else.
Exactly.
That was pretty considerate of them.
Because she got paid the real money.
Mhm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But it was nice that they did not even attempt to murder you. That they
Yeah.
almost went out of their way to not murder you.
Yeah, that was really really. But then, so to answer your question, that wasn't a squib.
Mm-hmm.
She did get killed,
Really?
unfortunately.
Wow.
I get it. That makes sense.
Blood, yeah, and those feathers that came flying out.
Yeah.
Wow.
Last.
Now-
Good for them for not letting that get out. That feels like a scoop that the trades would have picked up on.
Yes.
This isn't live, right? Nobody.
No, it's definitely live. No,
It's just
definitely live.
streamed.
It's
It's live
streamed.
streamed. It's different.
It's very different.
Just
If you-
kidding.
Yeah,
that
just
was,
Great. That's it.
that was me, and that was a fake.
If you say just kidding, it holds up in court. You're good,
Yeah.
Susan. You're golden.
it's okay.
Yeah, it'll be. Yeah. Now, Susan, in episode 3 of 1600 Penn, your character is compared to Queen Amidala from Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
How do
Skip,
you feel about that, George?
Because we watched it
We'll watch 1600
roughly
Penn.
2 hours ago.
But
And-
do you feel like, wow, proud, or did it?
proud. No, proud. Because I thought, yes, I understood the reference. And so I felt great because that meant that Star Wars exists as a movie franchise in the world of 1600 Penn. Because you can't take that for granted. You don't know when you create one fictional world and then someone creates a fictional world that
Acknowledges this other.
acknowledges yours. Because one thing it does is it removes the question of, is Star Wars real in the world of 1600 Penn? Like, are these real things that happened in a different galaxy far, far away a long time ago?
Mhm.
Or is Star Wars a movie in the world of 1600 Penn that these characters could go see? And so in that instance, I mean, I guess it's not entirely clear. It could be, based on that one joke, it could be that Star Wars was a real thing that happened and not a
It
movie.
might have just been a thing that happened a long time ago in the galaxy far,
Galaxy
far,
far,
away.
far away.
But I can say, I mean, as a longtime friend of George's, he gets very, very stressed out when he starts watching a new TV show because he's just on the edge of his seat waiting for that first reference so he knows whether or not Star Wars is canon within that show.
Like, I remember when I watched The Wire,
Oh,
and I just kept waiting to find out, is Star Wars real or a movie in the world of The Wire?
Mhm.
And it was one of the many unanswered questions.
Yeah,
I learned a
that's-
lot about the way that cities and institutions are broken in America, but I didn't learn whether or not Star Wars was real or a movie.
So I'm just to get this, just to be clear, every time you watch a movie or a
Every
TV
time.
show,
Yeah.
you wait for a reference to Star Wars.
with bated breath, he waits.
Bated.
Yes.
Bated breath.
Yes.
I mean, it's just something I can't help. Once you create, I'm sure that this is what every artist does. When you tell a story, you want to know. I'm sure that when 1600 Penn, when the new Star Wars movies came out, they wanted to know if 1600 Penn, if there was any indication that later on 1600 Penn would exist as a story or as a real historical event. If there was a character in, say, The Last Jedi whose last name was like Gilchrist.
Hang on,
That
guys.
might
I just want
imply-
to pause really quick because Amara's character
Oh.
on screen is currently wearing this outfit. I just
All
want
right.
to make sure everyone knows.
Yeah,
Susan,
Patrick,
when we were-
stand up, Patrick, because Amara's standing up. Yeah.
Susan, when we were planning this stream, her outfit was available for purchase online, so we bought it.
Amazing.
Susan, you seem increasingly incredulous about everything happening on this live stream. Almost as if it's not normal for George Lucas and Watto the alien to be
No.
obsessively watching every episode of 1600 Penn and buying costumes from it.
No, that's not. I'm still stuck on the fact that George, being who he is, waits with bated breath on whether Star Wars is going to be mentioned in anything and everything that he comes across entertainment-wise.
I'm also, I'm multitasking. I'm also enjoying and processing the story on its own terms.
Yeah.
But it's just a question that I'd like to. I appreciate it when it's answered, because then I can just relax and enjoy.
It's like you said, Susan. Every time you get a new job, you're sweating it, right? And George is similar. Every time he watches a new thing that anyone has made, he's sweating it, waiting to find out whether or not his work is recognized within the body of that one.
The first 2 episodes of this, I just, there was no release. It was just nonstop tension. Is this happening after the events of Star Wars? Or is Star Wars a movie that the Gilchrists all went to see as a family?
He's good at hiding it at this point, but I've known George long enough that I could recognize he was circling a panic attack. He is just barely keeping it at bay. And the second Skip compared your character to Queen Amidala, shoulders down, sigh of relief, his whole posture changed.
Yeah, okay.
Now, do you remember those lines? Do you remember that scene where you were compared to Queen Amidala, Natalie Portman's character in Star Wars prequels? Good
friend of mine.
Have you ever encountered Natalie Portman in real life?
It must have been awkward.
No, I have not.
She's great.
I do want
to Harvard.
He's a real match.
Also, when you Google your character to get more information about the character, your known for quote is Stacey Kim, I like you, Skip Gilchrist, I know, which is also a Star Wars line. I don't want to put all this crazy stuff on you, but
that's a Han Solo line. So you're compared to Queen. You're the only character, maybe in the history of film, television, and music, or let's say paintings, literature, poetry. I know of no other fictional character who is compared to Queen Amidala, who then utters a line of Han Solo dialogue.
That's pretty impressive.
It's badass as heck.
I'm changed, forever changed, because I didn't know this. Thank you for telling me, because I now know that I will go down in history.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like a generational thing that most actors don't get to do. It's like Christine Ebersol in the Grey Gardens musical, where Act 1 she plays Big Edie, and Act 2 she plays Little Edie. You know?
Yeah.
It's very cool.
Exactly the same.
Watto's getting really into Broadway. No, I was going to say, Watto's talking a lot of Broadway today.
I love musicals.
Oh, yeah.
From now on, I mean, this is the kind of thing that every year when the whole world celebrates Amara Miller's birthday on May 4th, this is a thing they'll talk about, which is when they say, May the 4th be with you, to celebrate.
Skip right now is saying to President Gilchrist, I don't want to be your Yoda. You have to be my Yoda.
He's doing a Yoda impression. Skip just did a Yoda. This is canon.
While wearing the clothes that you're wearing, Patrick, in the next scene, in the same episode. No, in the same episode. It then cuts to your outfit.
I know.
So that means that this live stream is also canon within the 1600 Penn universe.
Yes, it's a great.
Hold on, what DVDs is he holding? I'm backing up a little to see what DVDs Skip brought in.
Got to catch up.
We're getting very excited. I'm sorry.
George really focuses in on the very little details.
Devil in the details. He's a filmmaker.
Now, George,
I can't. It's driving me crazy that I can't see what those DVDs are.
Oh my gosh.
George, do you want to ask Susan the question you asked other people earlier?
Oh, right. Susan, in one of the early episodes, the refrigerator in the Gilchrists' dining area or kitchen area opens up, and there are 2 gourds in the refrigerator. They might be squash. They might be 2 squashes, but they're 2 gourds. They're never referenced. No one ever talks about them. No one ever eats any or prepares a gourd. We never see anyone eating a gourd meal. Were you on set ever? Do you ever film a scene in the kitchen area of the Gilchrists' living quarters?
Let's say you are definitely not in the scene that he is referencing.
Yeah, definitely. Don't panic. You're definitely not in that scene.
definitively. We just watched it. In fact, it's weird for George to even be posing this question to you.
I was set up to pose this question, and I think it's a fair one. Because if you weren't there, then the answer is easy.
It is a fair question. They're all fair questions.
Yeah.
Kind of. And no, I don't remember. I don't.
Were you ever in the kitchen? Were you ever in the kitchen of the GILCHRISTS living quarters in that set?
I love
kitchen.
this.
I don't remember.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Susan, here's
That's
another
fine. No
question.
need to apologize.
Here's another question. I think you'll have.
I am sorry.
Oh, never apologize. Susan, never
Don't
apologize.
apologize.
No, as long as you're being honest, you have nothing to apologize for.
No. And when you apologize, the trolls win. You know,
Yeah.
you never. That's a thing George taught me. Never apologize for
That's why.
anything.
That's why
I'm
nobody
sorry
in
for
nobody.
apologizing.
In,
I'm
no,
sorry.
it's okay. It's okay. That's why, if you notice, you go back and watch the movie Labyrinth. No one apologizes
That's a good point.
because the trolls would win.
Okay, Susan, this is a question I think that might be easier for you to answer.
Okay.
Okay, you did a one-woman show called Diaries of a K-Town Dive Girl at the Elephant Theater in Los Angeles, February of 2011, correct?
If that's what it says, I'm gonna go with it. But I did. Yes.
You did do that show, and that was where it happened. Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, and it was at the Elephant Theater.
Yes.
Now, in your memory, did the Elephant Theater close down after you did your one-person show?
Yes.
Did it really?
Yeah. But
Wow.
it was so explosive that the theater had to say, we can't put anything on after this.
Susan, I am so glad you said that because I've been looking for someone to relate to on this front. Watto did a one-man show called Watto About Me, in which he sang new versions of a lot of his favorite Broadway ballads.
We should say this is very real.
It's very
This is
real.
true.
Yeah.
Watto did this, and he thought that it sold out. He felt really good about it. He thought
This
it
was
was going
after-
to be.
The George Lucas Talk Show had had this slot at the UCB Theater since 2014.
Yeah,
So
it
we
was
were
a
a
normal
long-running show.
Normal talk
Just a
show.
long-running show. I had to leave town to work on my museum, and I said to Watto, I want you to continue in the slot. He had something he wanted to do.
So Watto
So you
did
did
a
one-
Watto show. He worked
Watto
really
About
well
Me.
on it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you worked very hard on it. You understand what it's like. You've done it. You put your heart and soul. It's very vulnerable being the only person on stage. He did this. It was well received. He felt really good about it. He said maybe he's going to, I'm going to get a run out of this. And then 4 days later, the pandemic hit. Everything closed down, and now that theater has permanently gone out of business.
Oh my goodness.
Watto was one of the last shows to ever happen at the UCB Theater in New York City. And
Wow.
I'm constantly suffering with this sort of like survivor guilt of like, did I kill that theater? Was my show too good?
It
Was
was
that-
definitely to something.
Right? Was it a super spreader event? Like what happened there?
We will never know.
But
And the
No.
thing
you're
is,
living with those same questions.
yes,
Yeah.
but it doesn't keep me up at night.
See,
But
that's
I think it should keep you up at night. And I think you should just keep circling this inside your head.
Watto has not slept since March. I can tell you that.
Yes. Very good. Very good.
It was
Watto-
March 6th. He has not slept since March 6th.
Watto, someone in the comments is saying that your show went viral.
It really did, to an unfortunate degree.
Two things. First, I want to talk about how proud I am that I fit into these clothes that 12-year-old Amara Miller fit into while she was filming. Feel really good about that.
Yes.
Secondly, we should give Susan a 1600 name.
That could
Yeah,
be great.
a 1600 pen name.
Yeah. Now, do you guys want to explain to her briefly what that means?
Besides, not Stacy.
No.
No, that's your character name. This is a name for you, Susan Park.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that character is owned by 20th Century Fox, which has been purchased by Disney.
Yeah.
So Disney. So basically, you are technically a Disney princess.
I mean, I have been since I was 5. Yes.
Yeah.
But now it's legal. Like now it's legally intellectual property.
It's canon.
Okay.
All right, so here it is. So your name, Susan Park. We're going to click next.
So this is a website that was designed for today.
It's a real
1600
website anyone can go to.
Now,
Anyone can go.
Susan, how political are you? 1 to 4.
4 being the most political.
4. Okay, here we go.
3.
3.
Three.
Okay, okay.
Woo!
That's good
Oh
because
my gosh.
it makes a big difference. Here we go.
Huge difference.
Your 1600 pen name, working, almost done. 1600 Susan.
Wow.
That's good. That's a good one.
Rolls off the tongue.
That's your name.
My Disney princess name is 1600 Susan.
No.
Stacy is your 1600. That's your Disney princess name.
And we haven't built a Disney princess website yet. We only have a couple of.
Stacy's Disney princess name is 1600 Susan.
Do we now? Let me
Yes.
ask this question. Let me ask this question.
No, I know. Let's just clarify though. Yes, Susan.
I think I did it wrong. I think I should have gone with 4. I
All right, we'll
second.
do it again. We'll do it
Let's
again.
do it again.
Do it again. We can change it.
We'll do
Let's
it again.
Okay, let's do it again.
Let's do it again. So yes,
Hang on.
Susan.
Start over.
Stacy is now a Disney princess.
Here we go. Next.
This would be your name in real life.
This is your personal 1600 pen. So you said 4.
4.
All the way. All the way.
Here we go. Next. Your 1600 pen name is 1600 Susan.
Wow.
It looks like it was destiny.
It was Destiny. That's pretty
I
good.
call bullshit.
Wow.
It's
Wow.
it's very complicated
It's science.
technology.
It's science. It's been verified. I mean, we'll run it again. We'll get the same results. We'll run it again.
The
Yeah.
numbers don't lie.
Science.
It's science.
It's science.
I wish-
Bleeding edge technology.
Yeah.
You can't
Susan,
argue with science.
Do we, without spoiling too much, do we learn more about Stacy in later episodes about her friends, her family? Do we ever explore her world, or do we only see her within the context of the world of the White House?
Sadly, no. You
Mhm.
only see her in context inside of the White House.
Of the White
I
House,
think we have 3 episodes left, I think,
right?
in
So-
our Stacy
It's
journey.
very sad.
So we never find out about her family. We never find out.
You never find out if you cut her, does she bleed?
You never find out, for instance, if her mother has got it going on.
No, you never find that out.
Stacy's mom.
It's
I
a
got it.
Stacy's mom telling us a winging joke.
Thank you, George.
You don't even know if she has a mother.
Whoa.
That's right.
Do you think she does?
Or is she like Anakin Skywalker, born of mysterious origin?
What's your head canon? You think immaculate conception? Wow.
No, she was. I'll give you the backstory.
Please.
Okay.
She was actually, she lives in the basement of 1600 Penn because one day, I mean, she doesn't even know for sure, but this is rumor has it. One day they opened the front door and they saw a stork fly off.
Oh,
There was
wonderful.
a basket with a baby,
Ooh.
and they looked in it. The baby wasn't Stacy.
Wow.
The
That's
baby had a note and said, "Look over there."
This is great storytelling. Susan, this is great storytelling.
Oh, good. I'm
We
on
thought-
the edge of my
We thought
And
we were leaning into
Looked over there.
look over there.
They looked over there, and they found this raggedy 5-year-old, Stacy,
Uh-huh.
and they tried to question her. Hey,
Yeah.
what are you doing here? What is this baby? What is going on?
Uh-huh.
And she didn't know anything. The only thing that she knew how to say was, "I'm Stacy Kim. I'm Stacy Kim."
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So
What a
they, out of pity, they let her stay and work in the mailroom, and they didn't even allow her to move up. like they do in agencies.
Oh my
Right.
gosh.
They just kept her in the mailroom.
Susan,
Wow.
what was your plan? Was this going to be a season 5 reveal, season 6?
It was
Like
going
when
to be a season 5 reveal.
A Susan 5 reveal.
season 5
A Susan
reveal?
5 reveal.
Oh, people need to write their letters now to renew 1600 pen for Susan 5.
Susan 5, the Susan season.
Oh, one more Susan of 1600 pen.
Wow.
Oh,
1600 Susan.
Susan.
We're
Oh,
almost there. 1600 Susan.
Yeah.
Well, this is a thing. Disney now owns
See?
1600 Penn, and they love franchise building. So we're saying, like, bring 1600 Penn back, but build it out into a cinematic universe.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
that cold open where we meet the baby who has the note that says, "Look over there," that directs us to
Still
5-year-old
blowing
Stacey
my
Kim.
That's pretty
Is-
good.
Very raggedy 5-year-old
Yeah.
with twigs in her hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Hanging
at
out
that point,
hanging out by the White House.
the audience doesn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
You know, it's like all the rules are broken. Everything's out the window. Anything is possible.
Insane. Susan, thank you so much for coming by.
Susan, thank you so
Having
much.
me. This
It's
is
been very
fun.
fun.
Susan, thank you so much for coming by.
Do you have anything you want to plug? We don't usually let plugs, but we'll let you plug if you have anything.
I want to plug my new one-woman show, 1600 Susan.
Whoa.
Wonderful. This is an
And-
exclusive.
I'm going to say, George, don't worry. Don't worry, because there will be plenty mention of Star Wars.
Wow.
I just want you to sleep well tonight.
I
But
will.
you want me to stay awake and circle the question of whether or not Watto brought coronavirus to New York City with his one-man show.
Yes, because that is
No,
that is you should have no rest from that ever.
I promise you, I never will.
It's a very heavy bag
Yeah.
that you should never
Yeah.
put down.
I want to say, as suggested in the chat here,
Yeah.
from Eric Smooth, hashtag 5 Susans in a movie. I think we want to
Oh,
get that trend.
That's
Hmm.
good.
From your lips to the universe.
mm.
Oh,
Why don't
boy.
we say 1600 Susans?
And a movie. We need a movie.
1600
1600
Susans.
Susans and a movie.
Oh, we love it.
Oh,
Thank you, Susan.
thank you, Susan.
We'll see ya.
Thank
Have a
you.
good day.
Bye, Susan. And speaking of, she just mentioned that's a very heavy bag. This bag of cherries is significantly lighter than it was at 3,000.
That's true.
I don't know what it does to a person to eat a whole bag of cherries.
We'll find out. What are we at right now, Patrick?
So we are at. Hang on. Let me bring in our next guest because we have a guest for episode 8.
After that.
She's an executive producer on Blackish, co-executive and executive producer. She was a supervising producer on the Carmichael Show.
I mean, these are
Supervising producer on
credits. What do
BoJack
they have to
Horseman.
do with our live stream?
Everything. She's a co-producer on 1600 Penn. She was a writer on 1600 Penn.
What?
Laura Guten's here.
Laura!
Whoa.
Thank you so much for
Welcome.
having me.
Oh man.
Welcome, Laura.
Thank you for gracing us with your presence. Wow.
It's truly an honor.
Thank
This
you,
has
Laura.
been, we're on episode 8 right now. Oh, and you guys wanted to know, right now we've raised $3,229. For the
We are
museum.
so close to Watto drawing magician and libertarian pendulette on his forehead.
Yeah.
Do we have anything for 4,000?
We don't, but if you want to add it, George, go ahead.
I'm going to visit. I'll keep this cryptic. I'm going to make this sound mysterious, but I'm going to make a visit to a doctor. No, I'm going to have a doctor make a house call.
Okay.
I
right.
love how cryptic your stretch goals are.
And I'm going to give you. I'll give another clue when we get to 3,500. I'll give you
So-
another clue.
Okay.
So that's a stretch goal is a clue
A clue.
for a different stretch goal.
Great.
Yes.
What
Here,
a
let's
great
start
way
this
to raise
episode.
money.
Let's start this episode and then we can talk to
Okay.
Laura about
Yes.
everything. All right. So, Laura, do you have it pulled up?
I don't. I'm just flying blind.
That's okay.
Okay. All right.
All right.
That's what
So
I'm
we will.
doing.
Here we go. We will start in 1, 2, 3. So we're 8 episodes in, Laura.
Mhm.
We're having fun. So far, Peter Knight was here earlier, and he auctioned off one of the White House signs from the press briefing room.
Oh, wow. I did
Yeah.
not know that we were allowed to take anything at the end of the season.
I don't think he was.
No, this is what happened. Peter said that he was on the old lot for something else, and he noticed the sign was still there years later.
It's the sign we're looking at right now on the screen there.
And then he took it. He didn't take it at the end of the season. He took it years later.
Well, you know, Peter Knight is one of those people who believes that it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. And I admire
Also,
that. I can't do that.
He's
So
a thief. He's a thief is what you're
also, yeah,
I'm not.
Yes,
He's a scoundrel. He's a scoundrel.
He's a scoundrel.
I wouldn't,
I'm
well,
also
A lovable
smuggled it
rogue.
out.
He's a lovable rogue.
he's truer words are never spoken, Watto.
I'm also not sure if it counts as stealing if you do it later.
If the lot and the whole production had just left it behind as garbage,
Yeah, if it's garbage.
But you know what? One man's garbage is another man's fundraising tool. So I applaud him for having it.
That's right.
Yeah. Have you ever taken something from a set?
You can't see it right now, but I am actually sitting in a leopard print chair stolen from the set of News Radio.
Whoa!
Which was my first job.
Ooh.
And I also, if you're familiar with the show, Andy Dick's character, Matthew, had a little fishing cat sitting on his desk, and I took that at the end of the season.
Laura, Watto has only been
Was this
surviving
the chair that Andy Dick would?
No, George, what were you going to say?
George.
Was that the chair that Andy Dick would frequently fall off of in the cold opens?
No, this was a special chair that was in a flashback in an episode, and I said I think that looks cool, and so I was young, and I didn't have a chair, and they felt bad for me, so they just said, "What did
Wow."
So I have the chair, but the thing from the desk was very iconic.
So you carried that chair with you for years now, from like different homes.
Oh yes, no. Now I am a mother now. I am sitting in this chair more than 20 years later. It's very comfortable.
I was going to say, Watto, the only way he has mentally been surviving this quarantine is by self-medicating with sitcoms. And he has been obsessively watching sitcoms as some sort of form of false normalcy to put his mind at ease. He is currently deep into making his way through every episode of News Radio. You had no idea. This is very topical for what Watto is thinking about on a daily basis.
I did not know, but no, it was my very first job in Hollywood. I was the stage production assistant on the final season.
Wow.
So I answered phones, and I got yelled at a lot. And sometimes I would stand next to John Lovitz at craft service while he made a bagel. And then years later, I worked with John Lovett.
I was going to say.
Right.
You may
Drop the Z, it's cleaner.
Hang on, you may be the only person who has worked with both.
You might be the only one.
Yeah.
Again, I'm just, I'm blessed.
You could start a podcast called Love It or Love It, in which you recount different stories from those two jobs.
Yeah, like who did I walk in on wiping his armpits with a washcloth?
I got one guess.
You're probably right.
Okay.
You're probably right about
I
that.
won't make you out him, but I have a guess.
Yeah.
How did your job with 1600 Penn come about?
It came about I didn't know anybody involved in the show, but my agent put me up for the job during staffing, and I had just had my first child, and I was desperately terrified that they wouldn't let me back in the TV business. But I went in and I sat down and I talked to John Lovett and Jason Weiner. And I think what clinched the job for me is that we were talking about Becca being pregnant. And I recounted my experience recently being pregnant and how it wasn't wonderful and beautiful and how I constantly felt like I had an alien living inside me, leeching off of my life force. And they were like, we like this. So then I met with Mike Royce, who's a prince of a man, and everything just clicked. And so I ended up there for what was a wonderful 13 episodes. Yeah.
How much did you guys write the season ahead of time? Did you write it as they were going? What was the schedule like for that?
We started, I think we started right about now. We started like right mid-June, early July, and I think we started shooting in September. So we got as much done beforehand as we could, and then by the end, we were writing while they were also in production. So you know, it was good because it's a new show, so you see what the actors are doing, and you go, "Oh, that's actually kind of cool. We can work that into the character." You know, you're not writing completely blind.
You start to write to the performers and their strengths.
Exactly, Watto. You know.
I mean, I was just doing the math in my head. What's interesting is the time in which you were in production on the show spanned the time right before the 2016 election, through that election, and slightly afterwards. So what was it like trying to write this show about the president while you're in this sort of liminal state, wondering whether Obama will get 4 more years or will have to welcome Uncle Mitt into the big house?
We were all very worried about it, and we would often ask John Lovett to tell us that it was going to be okay, and he wouldn't. He would say, "I'm not. That's not my job." He doesn't coddle people.
Right.
But it was very interesting. I remember driving home from work in the car and listening to Mitt Romney talk about the binders full of women. And so it was a big relief.
I made a movie called American Graffiti, which was all about nostalgia, and what a time it was when we were worried about how dangerous Mitt Romney would be.
47%. Remember 47%, guys?
47%.
47%.
It was another time. We also 1600 Penn got a bit of heat for being a show about a white president when we had our first black president in the White House.
Sure.
But to be fair, as you said, it was in the middle of an election. We just as easily could have had our whitest president ever, Romney would have taken that crown. It would have been a huge swing in the opposite direction.
Then Bill Pullman would have been very close. So
Pullman could play Romney.
Pullman could play Romney.
Pullman could play anything. The man is a guy.
And yet Romney could not have starred in Spaceballs.
No.
That's also a good point.
No.
Can you tell us any Pullman stories? Because that guy, I mean, he just seems like an ultimate pro. As you said, the man has range.
Bill Pullman is just wonderful. I think that, especially for those of us who were relatively newer to the business, he was a little bit intimidating. But he would talk to anybody about anything. He was completely delightful. One thing I remember is he loved talking about fruit. He had orchards. And if you wanted to talk about a pluot or anything really that grew.
This is a scoop.
This is a scoop.
Wow.
If anyone out there knows Bill Pullman, we'd very much like him to stop by. Tell him we are willing to talk about fruit for as many hours, and we will listen. We don't even need to say anything. We will listen to fruit talk for as long as he's willing to.
It was not boring fruit talk. I mean, sometimes you're like, oh, I went to a party and I got stuck next to someone talking about fruit. But no,
do you remember any fruit facts? What was an interesting thing that he said about fruit?
I wish I could remember anything specific, but at that time I had a 4-month-old and I was not sleeping that much.
Right.
So
hard to build. Yeah. Hard to hold on to those memories. Now this is a show in two of the main roles in the show. You have a Pullman and an Elfman.
Yes, indeed.
I have no question.
Very.
It's as you said about Bill Pullman, Ultimate Pro. Jenna Elfman, also Ultimate Pro.
Ultimate Pro.
Yeah.
Just a wonderful person, and you would give her a line. Oh, it would be better, a little bit better like this. Boom. I mean, she was so good, and everyone was so professional. It was a lovely set to be on.
Laura, do you remember any of the scenes that were filmed in the residency in the Gilchrist kitchen where they had a refrigerator?
Great question. Great line of questioning.
I do. Why do you ask?
In an early scene, and this is fruit adjacent. They open up the refrigerator, and there are what appear to be two gourds in the refrigerator. Two full size. They might be squash. They're some sort of gourds that are there. They're very prominent, and they hold the refrigerator open for enough time that they want the audience to see these gourds.
And Laura, can I just say to you, this is not a joke. George has been obsessing over these gourds for 5 consecutive episodes. Every single guest we've had on this stream, he has asked them about the meaning of the gourds. And when he says they're held on screen for enough time that it feels intentional, we're talking maybe 1.5 seconds top. But
No, they keep coming back. No, by the time you notice them, Watto, but I've been watching them the whole time.
George has been studying these gourds like they're the Zapruder film.
Are they in multiple episodes?
No, they have not returned. Although, hold on. Oh, I thought maybe they might have returned.
They were visible in one setup, in one scene.
We haven't returned to the. In fairness, we haven't returned to the kitchen.
No.
In that time.
I do not specifically recall the gourds. However, again, John Lovett is a genius, and maybe he was doing maybe it was some kind of an Easter egg for a fellow gourd fan. I wouldn't put that past him. He was very careful about the details, so that does not feel like an accident to me.
It's not an accident. It was a choice. I as a filmmaker, I know when I'm looking at a deliberate choice as opposed to some haphazard bit of set dressing.
All I can say is that I can try and activate my network of deep insiders who might know something about gourd placement, but
Laura,
on the
activate the network.
Activate that. But the only caveat being, it is the Sunday after July 4th. People may not be available for gourd talk.
Right.
But that doesn't mean I can't try.
The great thing about this question is there's no ticking clock on this. If I get the answer 10 years from now, I'll be satisfied.
Yeah.
I can make some gourd related, not calls. Yeah. I'm not going to call, but
no. Write a handwritten letter. A handwritten letter is much more meaningful, and people take it seriously.
Now, I do want to say, I don't want to take you away from asking. I did some Googling on my own to see if anything came up.
Oh, really?
Emily Gordon was a guest on an episode of Love It or Leave It, wife of Kumail Nanjiani.
Emily V. Gordon, spelled differently, sounds the same.
Maybe that's why. I do want to also say there were no people named Gordon who worked on 1600 Penn. I also checked.
That's
Emily
because
Gordon
that
she wrote on the Carmichael show with me. And
there
so now I need to go and see if they had any gourds in their fridge.
That's a great question.
Laura, I have a question for you. You're the credited writer on an episode that we just watched.
Yes.
Skip the Tour.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you write the title of that episode as well? Do you remember if you were the one who came up with that name for the episode?
I don't think it was me, because in my career, I can say I'm good at multiple things, but naming episodes is not one of them.
You're not a titler.
I'm not a title person. I usually rely on the kindness of the other writers. But who knows? I could take credit. They're not here, so
it's true. No, Watto just asked because he's a big fan of 1600 puns.
Yes.
Skip the tour.
See you there. Yes.
Skip the tour. I see what you all did there.
Right. And I am not the best at 1600 puns, unfortunately. So it might have been Peter Knight.
I wasn't sure, and this is a bit early to bring up this topic, but I wasn't sure if the title Skip the Tour was an in-joke about a TV series that I made close to a decade ago called Star Wars Detours. Mm-hmm. I self-financed 39 episodes, 3 seasons of an animated Star Wars television show.
This is 100% true. We have to understand this is true.
And when I sold Lucasfilm to Disney, that included this, completed television series that I had completely financed without having a buyer in mind, because I just assumed who wouldn't want an animated Star Wars TV show fully completed by George Lucas.
And Laura, you've written on several animated series. You've written on BoJack Horseman, Penguins of Madagascar, Father of the Pride. I would have to imagine your favorite part of that process was when the episodes got released and were seen by people, right?
That was very nice because, you write it and then it could be 2 years before somebody sees it. Yeah.
Sit Down, Shut Up, a show that Watto was a big fan of, that most people slept on. Yes.
It took a very long lead time.
Right. It's satisfying when it finally gets released and seen, right?
Incredibly satisfying, yes.
Well, it's one of the reasons.
A little tragedy here.
So, Disney buys all of Lucasfilm, including this completed Star Wars comedy series. And what do they do with it? They put it on the shelf.
Even now with Disney Plus?
Even now with
You
Disney
took
Plus,
the
they
word
could, release,
right out
they
of
could
my
release it tonight with the press of a button. During a pandemic where people need things to watch.
It has been nearly a decade, and they still have not released it.
And and part of me couldn't help but wonder as I think about it whether the title "Skip the Tour" might be some sort of hidden code from within the production of 1600 Penn, telling Disney
Skip
detours.
Skip detours.
I mean, if it was put there subliminally, I do not support that.
Yeah.
I would love to see this show. I feel like the idea that the Detours is in jail just breaks my heart.
Yes.
And so we would not do that to you.
No, and look, you have a good alibi because you've already established you weren't the titler. That's not your strong suit. You're good at many things, but you're not the titler.
Who was the titler? That's what we need to find out.
Find out the titler.
Who was the titler?
To thank them for the 1600 pun. Secondly, to interrogate them about whether it was a secret message.
When I do the gourds, I'll also ask about the detours.
That's good. Now, hang on. I have a question for George and Watto. I think people in the chat are bringing this up. We may have come to the heart of George's obsession with this gourd.
What?
Now, George, did you ever see, Laura, you won't understand this.
No.
So it's okay.
I'm just happy to be here.
Now, George, did you ever see the first Halloween episode of the Chris Gethard Show on Public Access? It was the presidential debate episode.
I thought the show was on Fusion.
No, this is earlier.
Long journey, long circuitous journey.
Did you ever see that, George?
In fact, sort of a midpoint before True TV as the ultimate landing place. Although one could say where it really lives now is on the internet, both in streaming apps and YouTube. I think it's on HBO Max. Anyway, go on.
Yes, George.
Right.
Have you seen that?
I think I've seen the unaired Comedy Central pilot and the first 2 seasons on Fusion, but I keep waiting. I have it set up to tape season 3 on Fusion.
There was an episode where they accused someone of having little pumpkins for hands.
Oh, that's cute.
Presidential candidate Connor Ratliff. He did not take kindly to that suggestion.
No. They didn't. People in the chat just didn't know if that was where this all started. If you had seen that episode,
you know what, Patrick? It's funny that you bring that up because, Lord, you were talking about everyone being scared of Mitt Romney getting elected in 2016, being really on edge.
2012. We would have taken it in 2016.
No, 2012. 2012. Everyone being scared about Romney. Watto remembers he was a big fan of the Chris Gethard Show. And this man, Connor Ratliff, who did sort of a funny joke presidential campaign, Watto was telling all of his friends and his family, I'm genuinely going to vote for Connor Ratliff because it doesn't matter. I'm a New York citizen. New York's going to go for Obama anyway. My vote doesn't count. And he was very adamant that he was going to vote for Connor Ratliff. And then when he got into the booth, it was only in that moment, as he stared in the ballot and considered writing in the name Connor Ratliff, that he said, how bad will I feel if I wake up tomorrow morning and Mitt Romney is president? And so he voted for Obama, but part of him regrets it a little bit.
Right.
You can't look back. You got to move forward.
Yeah, and I think isn't this the bit that Kanye is doing now? Is this connected to that?
Yeah. It feels very much indebted to the road that Connor Ratliff paved before him. Kanye's sort of just doing a double beat.
Yeah, wait. There's 2 different. We're talking about 2 different people here, though. Connor Ratliff and Kanye. Connor and Kanye.
Yeah.
Kanye Ratliff. Yes.
Okay.
Let's move.
Kanye Ratliff. Yeah.
Laura,
let's move on.
Did you have a favorite episode of this show?
Great question.
Oh, a favorite episode of the show.
Or even a favorite memory from working on the show. I'll give you either or both.
There's an episode that you're going to be screening later. I believe it's episode 10. And there is a scene that I co-wrote with Peter Knight. And there is a scene at a rave in a warehouse that we wrote. And it was just, it's always bonkers when you sit in the writer's room and and then they go to a rave in a warehouse. And then you're on set in a warehouse with 250 people, like guys who brought their own steampunk outfits and girls with wings. And it's like 8 a.m. and everyone is just sweating. And it was like, oh, we wrote that and they made it happen. It's so cool.
That's wild.
There were no drugs, which was a disappointment. But that was a very cool one. But I think my favorite episode was I think Skip the Tour I wrote that one. It had some of my favorite jokes in it, and I am a joke whore. So
now you wrote the hunky Bill Pullman, Bruce Campbell wrestling match at the end of the episode. We were talking about.
I was there when it happened.
Chin fight.
What was yes? Tell us about the
into reality
in that room.
You have to remain professional, even when something so sexually charged is happening right in front of you. Yeah. And then they say if you're on the set when they're making pornography, it's like no, cut, go back. It's not as sexy. Right. But man, they just kept rolling on that floor, and it was really. And then when they got up, and the Jason would call cut, and then they would shake hands like gentlemen. It was. And then they would get back into it. It was really something special.
That makes so much sense. Even if I didn't know they shook hands at the end, it feels so right that it makes sense.
Yeah.
It's also one of those things. It wasn't until Watto was watching that scene, seeing Pullman and Campbell go tete-a-tete, that he was like, why didn't anyone put these two guys together sooner? And why have they not continued putting these two guys together since? Those feel like very matched energies.
Yeah.
It was a meeting of equals.
Yeah.
When Bruce Campbell strode onto the set, and make no mistake, he strode onto the set. That is a man who strides. And he was a delight. And so many people wanted to take pictures with him, and he was of course he took all of them. He wasn't, I gotta go on Bruce Campbell. He was really wonderful. And he and Bill, I think they talked about fruit as well.
That's so funny.
To hear Daryl Zero and Briscoe County Jr. talk about fruit.
I can't even imagine.
Can you imagine?
Now, was that role written for Bruce, or was that a casting thing?
I believe at the time when we wrote it, we said, wouldn't it be cool if we could get Bruce Campbell?
That was your blue sky casting.
It was. We thought, they would be so great together. But a lot of the times, especially on a first-year show, you say, let's get Bruce Campbell. And then you just get some guy named Bruce who did like a diarrhea commercial.
Right.
And you're lucky to get him because, nobody knows what you're doing.
Yeah.
But
you get the guy named Bruce holding up a can of Campbell's soup, and you accept it.
Exactly.
I'm while we're talking about this, I feel like there's some other people in here that might know some more stuff. So I'm gonna bring him in. You saw him a few weeks ago on the show. They're friends of the show.
Friends of
Hernandez.
Oh, Dan and Benji.
Oh my goodness.
Here they are.
Hello.
Wow. Reunion here.
Gentlemen.
Dan, I did not get the memo.
What do you mean? This is my Sunday outfit.
Now, Dan, I see your display name is Dan Highest IMDb Rated Episode Hernandez.
Yes, that's what everyone calls me.
You're talking about the episode Game Theory, which
I am, in fact, talking about the episode Game Theory.
Which has been pre-teased as the one to watch.
Peter Knight himself talked it up and said that is the perfect, it's the platonic ideal of a 1600 Penn episode. He said it's everything 1600 Penn strove for.
Despite the fact that we were near the very beginning of this watch-a-thon, he just assumed that there's no other episode we would be watching than Game Theory.
He thought we were watching that episode 13 times in a row. He said, you guys don't understand. Game Theory changed the game.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone would accuse me of being a humble person.
No, of course not. You're a maniac.
I'm sure they wouldn't, but I will say this. The people have spoken. IMDb is a democracy. There is no greater instrument of democracy than the internet. And I can't control the internet. Benji can't control the internet. I'm a writer. I'm not a mathematician. But when I look at the ratings, I see that ours has come out ahead, and that says, I think that says everything. It says everything that I would say without me having to say it.
Wow.
Well said.
Well said.
And let's also say, not only does the episode have the highest star rating of anything on IMDb, that star rating is 6.9, which is kind of funny. It's like a joke out of 1610. It's an additional little joke on top.
This is yeah.
Is that
Whoa!
Wow.
Wow.
This has been in my archive.
Near mint condition.
Who folded that corner?
I don't. You know what? I could have changed it, but I decided.
No, you just say Pullman did it. Just say Bill Pullman.
He pulled on the corner.
Yeah, that's why they call him Pullman. He pulled on the corner. He will fold.
You got your. There were look. It wasn't perfect. It didn't come out of the oven fully.
Read it. Dan, can you read us a line? Can you read us a line?
We got
Read
pink
us a line that didn't
pages.
make the cut. That
We
didn't make
got
the
blue
cut.
pages. We got yellow pages.
No, wait, I have to ask, for people who aren't in the biz, because right now this screen is filled with 6 veterans of the entertainment industry. For people who aren't in the biz, when you're in production, every time there's a new draft, that draft is assigned a new color. So in the script, people know which color, which pages should be. Oh, we updated page 24. That's now purple draft. Here are the purple, goldenrod, pink. How many colors do we have in this script?
We've got blue. We've got white, which is the kind of the sort of the original.
Those are untouched pages. You got them right.
Pages from Benji and me. Let's see. We got blue.
It's got a lot of white, which says that they kept some of the the original text.
First idea.
It's a lot of the original.
Got some goldenrod.
Looks like we got. I thought I saw green, but it looks like we have 4 different.
Dan, is there a line in that script that did not make it into the final cut of the episode?
Oh yes.
Yes.
We ran long.
We want some of that. We want some of that on this live stream, and we should make it a stretch goal.
Yeah, sure. Okay, well, let's say where we're at first. I want to give an update because we have a few things we need to surpass now.
Okay.
Okay, what do we have?
We're at $3,673.
Oh,
okay.
Wow.
Which means that Watto needs to draw a famed magician and libertarian Penn Jillette on his forehead with a pen. And George needs to. Oh, you're going to give us a clue, George.
It's not really a clue. I'm going to tell you what the 4,000 is going to be.
Okay, wow, a big clue. The biggest of all clues. A full explanation.
Well, do you want me to tell you the clue? And then I think the clue is stupid. I think I should just tell you the thing. The clue was that I was going to be visited by Dr. Beans. Does that mean anything to you?
No.
It doesn't mean anything, right?
Seemingly
No,
not.
so you now reveal to us what the actual stretch goal is.
Right. So I don't know what these are like. I don't know what these are like.
Yeah.
This is a can of Dr. Pepper beans.
It says these beans are both sweet and sassy.
And I don't know. Is that what Dr. Pepper looks like?
I think that
is a rare photo of the doctor himself.
The good doctor himself.
Right. Yeah, Serious Bean Company, sweet and a bit sassy. Now, I want to, because this is real, if you go to they have a website that is called seriousbeanco.com, and it's a bestseller. It says it's a bestseller. And when you scroll down, there are customer reviews. There are 6 reviews on their site that are all done in the proper font of the site. It looks like these are not monitored reviews, meaning that if you type a review, and I encourage people to go write some reviews of these Dr. Pepper beans. The first review that is like highlighted on their site says, Dr. Pepper, 1 out of 5 stars. It says, we had the Dr. Pepper beans at our Father's Day cookout last night as I was trying something new. They were not edible. I can describe the taste as burned hairspray, not a hint of Dr. Pepper. I had high hopes, but these were a total bust.
Oh boy.
There was a 2-star review, a series of suspicious 5-star reviews, followed by another 1-star review. I'm going to eat this. I'm going to heat this can of beans up at 4,000. I'm going to eat this can of Dr. Pepper beans.
And I also want people to know we will be getting another chair at the Museum of Moving Image in less than $30 with our name on it.
Wow.
And is this going to be? Is anyone suggested a chair name for Patrick Cotnar, or will this be?
Well, that's the
third one. So the second one. So we are close to getting Watto's chair.
Yes. Yes.
And then the third chair we'd like to get would be one that would be either Snacktrick, Nap Snore.
Yeah.
Or if someone comes up with a better name that is chair themed.
Yeah.
Or Momi chair themed.
And then once Watto's back, we'll start this episode. I'm not sure where Watto went.
Well, I have a question for George.
Yeah.
I saw what Rory was saying, you guys, your conversation about Avatar, but my question for you, George, is you now are familiar with the 1600, the canon.
Yes.
Were you to remaster the show?
Mhm.
Were you to go back and just tinker, get in there,
Right.
with,
Yeah.
the raw footage?
Yeah.
Right.
What sort of things do you feel now, in the light of 2020,
Wow.
we were missing at that time?
Well, first of all, I want to tip my hat to. I want to start by talking about what you got right, which is when you throw the flaming chair out the window in the pilot.
Mm-hmm.
That's digital fire, yes?
Yes.
Not real fire. Is it real fire?
I think it was real.
You set a chair on fire and threw it out of a second-story window, and it landed on the.
We were told it was digital by a few people.
Maybe it was digital. Maybe it was digital. They did throw the chair out the window, but I think the fire was.
Did you ever have a practical set of the White House that had a second-story window that you could throw a flaming chair out of? An exterior of the White House south lawn that you would remember this if you set a chair on fire.
I will say, Benji and I were on set during the shooting of that stunt in the Huntington Gardens.
Yes.
And they used the facade of, sort of a colonial style, sort of a neoclassical.
Do you have any memory of someone saying, "Light the chair on fire"?
I seem to recall that there was some flame action on set that day.
This is a controversy. We have dueling narratives about this.
Memory is a fickle thing. Maybe I'm remembering it how I want it to be.
Yeah.
Ben, do you remember that?
I feel like that we might have gotten a shot of a flaming chair, but I don't think
you goosed it. I think you goosed it. I think there's some digital flames there.
Oh, they sweetened it. No, they certainly sweetened it. I mean, that's
it's. We did it. Let me tell you, it's as sweet as I hope that this can of Dr. Pepper baked beans will be.
It's the Jurassic Park way of a seamless mix of practical and visual effects.
That was a trademark of the show. Yeah.
You sort of did a special edition. I mean, you did it practically first, and then almost immediately you said, "No, let's put some digital stuff on top of this."
Yeah.
So you did. Anyway, I like that. I loved seeing that effect. I like it anytime you do plate shots of the White House in the background. Those are good.
It's a great building.
There's a scene with a teddy bear in one of the early episodes that I believe is a practical, just inanimate teddy bear. And I don't know if you're a fan of the Ted movies, but there are a lot of possibilities for a fully CGI teddy bear that's got a lot of attitude that really would open up the world. He doesn't even have to be real. He could be Skip's imaginary friend, We could add him into the show. And it's the kind of thing that then you're opening up a merchandising stream, because to the best of my knowledge, you never merchandise the characters in any kind of action figure, anything like that.
They left that on the table, and it was a huge
it haunts us to this day.
Yeah, a year later, you can't buy a toy snowman that isn't a Josh Gad character. You know.
Mm-mm.
So, yeah.
George, we should start the episode.
All right.
Just so we get going, and then George, can you also look in the private chat really quick?
Sure, absolutely.
All right. Let me know when you guys are ready.
I got it queued up, and I just want to make it clear that as we are watching the famous highest-rated episode, Game Theory, Watto will be attempting to draw famous magician and libertarian Penn on his forehead.
Yeah.
And I think that I'm going to head out and leave you in capable hands of two of, dare I say, my favorite. I know Peter Knight is watching, but I'm going to say it. Two of my favorite writers. It was their first job when we worked together, and look at them now.
Yeah.
Wrote one of my favorite movies of last year.
Look at that shirt.
Detective P, baby.
Detective P, big hit in our home. And so I leave you in very capable hands. Thank you so much for having me. I hope you guys raise all the money and eat all the beans.
Thank you, Laura.
Bye, Laura.
Wait. We should give Laura a 1600 pen name.
Oh, very quickly before you go, Laura.
Yes, please.
We've developed a state-of-the-art website.
Oh.
We used to give people names in the style of Star Wars, which then transitioned into giving people names in the style of Arliss. And now we have our third website developed by our community, 1600pen.me. This is a public website. It's a public resource.
Wow.
Anyone can use it. Now, this is very advanced technology. We still don't completely understand how it works. That is your name, right? No spelling errors?
It is correct.
Okay, so let's click the next
Okay,
button.
here we go. Next.
Oh, it's working.
And Dan and Benji, we're going to give you some too, so don't
worry. Don't be jealous.
I said let's got pretty political.
Okay.
3 or 4, what do you think?
Let's do a 3.
A 3. Okay, here we
Yeah,
go.
let's do a 3.
Next, your 1600 pen name is almost done. 1600
Yeah.
Laura.
Wow.
I was hoping.
That's
that it
good.
would be
Got
1600.
very
I legally changed my name to my Arliss name. So
Okay, well, I'll go back and figure out what that was.
paperwork is already sent. So
Yes.
I don't know if that
Right.
will.
Well,
Thank
I will
so
leave
much,
you to
Laura.
it. Enjoy
Right.
your episode.
Bye,
Gentlemen,
bye,
love you.
1600 Laura.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, friend. Thank you.
Enjoy
Bye-bye.
your news radio chair.
Yes. Okay, are we ready to go?
Yes.
I have it teed up. I wanna, and George, I think, and Watto too, as a professional, will appreciate this. I just want to draw attention to the intricacy of the plotting in this episode.
Okay.
There's a weaving narrative, even if the audience doesn't understand why it feels more satisfying. On some,
Because the A story, the B story, and the C story are all working together in perfect harmony.
that's
Okay.
right.
It's like an orchestra. It's like an orchestra that's also great at sports.
Yeah. Here we go.
Here we go.
1, 2, 3.
Flowers.
Now, guys, I also have a question before we get into this. Do you guys remember an episode named The Education of Skip?
I'm doing some research here. I think that episode might have been retitled The Short Happy Life of Reba Cadbury.
Yes,
Emily
I
does
think
what she
that's
can to
correct.
help
I'm
Skip
pretty sure
graduate
that's
college.
So it's
Okay.
the next
Okay.
episode. It's the
That's
one
correct.
after this.
Good
All right.
guess.
Good
Okay.
to know.
Don't worry about it. No worries.
But I think that episode, yes, there's a great guest star. I do remember that episode because that was one of the episodes in which Benji and I were thrown into the fire of professional writing in a very real way.
Wow.
But we're not talking about that episode.
But we're not
No.
talking about that episode.
No.
No.
What do you guys remember about writing this episode? Did you guys pitch it?
We did.
I think that we did pitch it. What the main thing that I remember about writing this episode, not to get too inside baseball, is as the staff writers on the show on our first job, Benji and I felt a lot of pressure to make this the best thing that we had ever written as a
Yeah.
No, we were like, if we can get a 6.9, we should strive for it. And
Benji
say
did
we
the
did.
math to tailor it so that in a best case scenario it would aggregate out to 6.9. So that was mostly what he did on the project.
Yeah.
But I do remember this episode, as we'll see, involves a lot of Risk. The game Risk is
Now, who owns that game? Who owns the game Risk?
I have a copy.
No, I mean, who owns who's is that Milton Bradley or
that's
Parker
a
Brothers?
Hasbro, I believe.
Hasbro?
It's a
Well,
Hasbro.
Well, but I think they bought like all the game companies, so I think it was a Milton Bradley or something.
Right.
But Hasbro out of the proud state of Rhode Island.
Mm-hmm.
And there was actually a lot of Risk played in the writer's room during the writing and filming of this episode.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So it goes to show you the rigor that some people don't think of us in the same way as athletes are perceived. And I know Watto, as an actor, you can relate to this, but
I'm a very physical actor. Yes.
there's a mental athleticism necessary to do this job.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Now, Hasbro, I believe also, I mean, they've obviously put out a lot of Star Wars things. Why not Star Wars Monopoly instead of Risk for this episode?
That's a good point.
I mean, I think that as well as I do that the politics of the board game industry, the second that Star Wars, look, George, I don't want to blow smoke, but that it's the most important intellectual property that exists.
Yeah.
And I think that that there's a certain level of quality control that comes with the Star Wars name.
Right.
And I think that there was some concern that, can two first-time writers shoulder the burden of that?
Right.
and I think we could have, but
you didn't want to risk it.
Yeah.
Very well said, George.
I do want to let everyone know we got our second chair.
Yeah.
Oh, very good. Very good.
Wow.
So there will now be a chair at the Museum of the Moving Image that says WATTO.
This is true, and it's been pre-approved. We made sure they will allow us to put WATTO on a chair, and they said, for the right number, you can put whatever you want on a chair.
Now, Dan, I found your Arliss name.
Yes.
So I'm going to bring it up in the 1600 pen, and we can...
Oh, interesting. Can we get a...
We're going to try it. We hope it does not crash the website.
We've never done a 1600 pen name of an Arliss name, so this is...
Here we go.
Here we go.
Next. Now, Dan, how political are you?
Big question.
Oh, I think it's got to be... I think it's got to be a 3.
Yeah, that feels right.
Such a reasonable number.
Here we go. Your 1600 pen name is...
Those gears are turning.
Now it's still pronounced Dan.
Okay.
Even though it says Arliss in there, it's still pronounced Dan.
That's beautiful, though. That really looks beautiful.
That looks, yeah. That should be your new wallpaper, Dan.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, put that all over the walls in your home. That should be your actual wallpaper.
Yes.
Now, Benji, we'll save it and we'll do yours before you guys head out. I don't want to do them all back to back.
Dan and Benji, I have an important question. There's a scene in an early episode in the residence of the White House. And they're in the kitchen area with the refrigerator, and the refrigerator door is opened, and there are 2 large gourds in the refrigerator. They might be 2 squashes.
I cannot oversell. George has been harping on this for 5 consecutive episodes now.
Watto, that's really good, Watto.
He's doing it backwards.
Really good.
I get a little credit. I'm doing this backwards, looking at an image of myself. And I have one window open is a photo booth of myself, and the other window open is a picture of Penn.
Patrick, can we burn the ask and get Penn to come on here while Watto has the... Can we burn that ask?
I mean, I'll send an email, but it's not going to happen.
Watto doesn't talk about this much, but Watto was admitted to RISD, and even though he didn't go there, it's like a point of pride.
In the proud state of Rhode Island.
He could have gone. Wow.
Yeah, can we get either Penn or Teller? Can we get Penn or Teller? Can we burn both asks?
I'm sure Teller would love to come on.
I'm still working on it. I got to get that.
Okay, we'll wait till you're done.
Honestly, here's the thing. Patrick's acting like it's impossible and it can never happen, but I think there's a good chance that Patrick is trying to fool us.
Penn Gillette is tangentially related to the 1600 Penn story.
What?
Benji, would you like to...
Benji, will you do the honors?
I mean, this... I guess it is related. It all goes back to my bachelor party. Yeah, this is a wild bachelor party story. But yeah, Dan, you were the one planning this.
So right after 1600 Penn ended, all the writers had great camaraderie. We were all great friends, and Benji was about to get married. And I don't know if you guys know this, but Benji is himself a magician.
What?
He is a magician. He is a member of the Magic Castle.
What?
His brother is a member of the Magic Castle. His father is a member of the Magic Castle. He is from a family of magicians.
Benji.
Is this
Benji,
a shock?
Benji, no, I'm going to ask you. Yes, please do some magic, Benji. Benji, please do some magic.
So I decided that as the organizer of Benji's bachelor party, that I would try to get something magic related as part of the celebration. So on a whim, I emailed the booking agent of Penn and Teller's show, and you can, as a group, you can say what is the name of the group that is, trying to get these tickets. And I don't know what came over me. I wrote the 1600 Penn Writers.
Wow.
Within an hour, I had received an email from the booker of Penn and Teller who said, "That is my favorite show. Would you like to come backstage and meet Penn and Teller after the show?"
Hard yes.
Hard yes.
Wow.
And so, as you know, there we were, just young men, and we trading on the 1600 pen name. We found ourselves hanging out with Penn and Teller for nearly an hour after their training for Benji's bachelor party.
Wow.
So
That is wild.
It really is. It's that thing. You know what it is? And I think, George, you'll relate to this.
Absolutely.
I think that the dark side of the Force is very overt. It's not.
Okay.
It's very. It's present.
It's right there. It's right there.
Right there. It's tangible.
You don't have
The
to hunt for it.
Side of the Force is subtle.
Yes.
Yes.
It's connections. It's coincidences that are not coincidences, and that is kind of how I feel about what happened at Benji's bachelor party.
Yeah, the dark side of the Force is, I hate you, and then you cut off your friend's arms and legs in a volcano fight. Like, that's the dark side.
Very dark.
Right.
Like, the dark side is like, I'm going to blow up that planet, and the light side is, no, we're going to blow up the thing that blows up that planet. It's subtler.
Hey, George, I also want to bring up, I think you need to reinflate BB-8.
Oh, really? Okay.
I would also add as an addendum to that story that Penn and Teller had not seen 1600 Penn. But their Booker favorite show.
Booker.
Oh, wait, George, no, you don't. It's 4444. We're close, but you're not there.
Okay.
That's very funny. That's the funniest end to that.
Now, wait a second. I have an idea. God damn it. Fuck. Watto has been drawing in a window on his photo booth, which is flipped from the direction of the StreamYard. He was trying to make a speech bubble of Penn Jillette saying bullshit, but now he's just written bull backwards. Time to scrub that part of my forehead.
Wait, no, just write shit backwards, Watto. You already have.
Yeah, I think that.
Yeah, now it's a mirror trick.
Okay, now I'm gonna write shit in the opposite direction.
Watto, do you have a portable mirror?
Yes.
Can you bring it around so we can see it in the camera backwards?
What?
If you point your head towards the mirror, not facing the computer, then we'll be able to see it.
Give me a second.
Thank you, Watto.
Now, we got distracted from my serious question, which is,
what was your
the refrigerator door opens up in one of the early episodes, and we see two gourds in the refrigerator.
I believe it was episode 3.
That's right. Benji, do you remember the gourds?
I mean, they're there for a reason, aren't they?
Benji, what's the reason?
What's the reason, Benji?
I don't want to ruin the finale of the season for everyone.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, then we'll have to ask our guest on the finale what the reason was if it's not abundantly clear. And I hope they'll know.
I would say, I mean, you are asking, someone who should know why anything is on set at that point.
It's a great point.
I'm going to just give a small clue because I know to what you were referring. I remember the discussions. I remember staying late into the night, several weeks in a row.
Right.
Pausing writing on this particular issue. All I will say is that they are both literal and allegorical in a Renaissance art.
That's great to hear.
Of the term. And I don't want to say too much.
Two giant
gourds on network television
accidentally show up in a fridge in the White House. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
Oh.
So anyway, George, you're keep digging.
I will. Well, now that I know that it's going to pay off, Chekhov's gourds.
I can't wait to see that payoff.
That's all we'll be looking for. Even though we're invested in the family, we understand the family. We understand their dynamics, and we're unpacking them and exploring them. We do not understand.
But I'll say this: for the payoff, you have to be watching just as closely.
I will. I'll have my eyes peeled.
Now Skip's on a date, and he's getting Cyrano de Bergerac, right?
Yeah,
now.
Sure is.
Is that where the idea came from?
for the old story of Cyrano de Bergerac.
Yeah.
Yeah, they watched this episode. And
Oh,
yes. Okay, great.
right.
Yes, it's a little known fact, but we actually predated that. I mean, it's a classic trope.
Yeah, I mean, listen, someone in the chat is saying this also happened in an episode of Heartless. Classic trope.
This drawing on the wall looks suspiciously close to the drawing of Penn on Watto's forehead. All the basic structure is the same.
I mean, these are it's the connections.
Art is a conversation between other art.
I think in our point of view, you have these Secret Service agents with earpieces, and it was sitting right there.
Yeah.
That's right.
Now we've been asking people who were involved in the show where do they think their characters are today in 2020?
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think about these characters? Do you have any thoughts about where Skip could be, where Jenna Elfman could be, where Robbie Amell could be? Not the actors, the characters. But
I mean, Skip is running for president.
Sure.
Well, as you know, for those who don't know, a long brewing passion project of ours is the reboot of 1600 Penn. And I have proposed that actually President Gilchrist wins non-consecutive terms.
Whoa, Grover Cleveland.
Like Grover Cleveland.
Wow.
And this is the way that I would bring 1600 Penn back into the fold.
Yeah.
NBC must-see TV Thursdays.
Yep. Still.
Mm-hmm. Still relevant. Still chugging. That's what I would do. But I do think that Benji is right. I do think that the series finale of 1600 in any form would certainly be Skip taking office.
Sure.
And that was discussed at the time. That's discussed in the fan theories, in the fan fiction,
the erotic fan fiction,
the
slash fic,
the incestual slash fic. You name it, it's in there. It's
now,
what the fans want.
is there a? I don't know the answer to this. Was there ever made a pornographic parody called 1600 Penis?
Not officially released.
That's not the way. Porn parodies aren't official. They're not official. They're not authorized.
Right. The unofficial.
Well, do you know? Did anyone make a porn parody of 1600 Penn?
I'm Googling. I'm not seeing anything.
Called 1600 Penis.
You should.
Not too late.
It's not. I mean, this is the great tragedy of the show going off the air before its time.
Yeah.
These kind of cultural touchstone things could have and should have been a part of this show, and yet there's Watto. Yes, Watto.
Show us the mirror.
So Watto,
you
have
to put your back to us.
You have to put your back to us.
You have to turn your back on us.
Hold on. Okay, you see that?
I guess
it's bendy. You got to turn your back to us.
Turn around, Watto. Turn around.
Yeah, you can see it.
Yeah, but turn around.
Turn around, Watto.
Damn it.
No, but get closer to the camera.
I don't. This is very hard to do. So like Ginger Rogers stuff, backwards and in heels. Does that do anything?
No.
Not at all.
Move your hand.
I don't know how to angle this. This is not intuitive.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Now zoom in, Watto.
I don't have control.
Oh wow! But turn around and zoom in now. Turn around and zoom in.
Turn around and zoom in now.
All right. Yeah. Push in.
Yeah. Wow.
Now
that's good, Lana.
Now let me ask this, because will there ever be Funko Pops of the 1600 Penn characters?
1600 Pops. It writes itself.
Listen, here's what I'll say about that. I once worked with a very talented actor named Griffin.
Yeah.
On a show called The Tick.
He keeps coming up. It's weird.
And
he's Dave Sims' pal, right?
Yeah, Dave Sims' pal.
Yeah.
nice guy.
Sounds
but
like a simp to me. Yes.
the lack of, he played Arthur on the Tick.
Mm-hmm.
Arthur's
And
that alligator?
Of a Funko basically ruined his career.
Yeah, I would say. I mean,
It
that's
derailed him in a really kind of psychological way.
It got him blacklisted. He was too thirsty for the Funko.
He was too thirsty for the Funko.
Yeah.
I heard, Katzenberg is calling Spielberg.
Yeah.
Saying, I don't know. I don't
Time
know.
to shadow ban. Time to shadow ban. Yeah.
Shadow ban. So
he's a rogue agent.
Here's what I'll say about that. Using his tale as a cautionary one.
Yeah.
I don't want to put it out there.
I get what you're saying. You're saying it felt to the degree to which this guy, what was his name?
Griffin.
Greg Newberg? Okay.
Newberg, yes.
This Graham Newberg, you're saying he was so thirsty on Maine for a Funko Pop that it almost feels like they pointedly spited him because he wanted it.
It did feel very much punitive at a certain point.
Whereas to go like 6 cast members deep into billions, it almost feels like that happened because they didn't want it.
It does feel like a shot across the bow.
They like making pops for something that no one's asking for.
Yes.
You're saying David Costabile didn't want a pop, Watto?
No, I'm saying he maybe had the smarts to not ask for it, to keep it secret. Because it would seem like, co-lead on a show about superheroes, that's a short walk for a pop.
Yeah.
But he was too thirsty on Maine. They tried to neg him. They did successfully. And then meanwhile, Billions was going, pop, pop, pop. But they were saying it secretly. And then they went, here you go. Everyone gets one. Everyone.
Yeah.
And you tell them apart? No. But they all
fair. It's not right.
No.
But that's my read of the situation. And so I don't want to say too much about it.
So let's say this. We all hope that Funko never makes pops of 1600 pen.
No, would not buy it, would not want it.
No.
Would not care for it.
And feel free to tweet that at Funko. If you want to at Original Funko tweet, please do not produce pops of 1600 pen. I would not buy them.
Under any... In fact, if they are produced, we will go out of our way to destroy them.
And my guess is if enough people tweet them with that type of message, they will be announced within 2 hours. They'll have mock-ups ready. They make those things so fucking fast.
Who gives a 12-year-old a sword?
It's a great question.
A great blow. It's a great blow.
It's a great blow. Who gives a 12-year-old a sword?
So we're on episode 110. The Short Happy Life of Reba Cadbury, formerly known as Education of Skip.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We're gonna roll right through.
Yeah, sure. Let's roll right through just so we don't get too far behind.
Where are we at on numbers, Patrick?
Hang on one sec. We are at, I believe, a similar number to where we were. 3719.
3719. So we're just a few $100s away from me eating this can of Dr. Pepper, sweet and a bit sassy baked beans.
Are we letting this episode play straight?
No, we're gonna press play.
We're gonna press play together, Watto.
Yeah,
You
great.
ready?
I want to make sure we weren't breaking tradition.
All right,
Yes.
here we go. 1, 2, 3.
3.
Now, guys, this is a genuine question because I always wonder this when we watch, or when you see movies or shows set in the White House. Did you guys have it figured out? And this is a real question. Who the last real president in this timeline was?
Great question.
Great question.
I believe that we said that we would not reference anything after Reagan.
Okay.
Is that
So
right?
no Herbert Walker, no William Jefferson, no W, no Obama.
I think that's right. I'm pretty sure that was a mandate from the
Did
top.
you create in the show Bible? What were there names of alternate presidents who filled up the time in between Ronald Reagan and President Gilchrist?
Was there a D. Wire Newman, for example? James Cromwell's character on The West Wing.
Great question.
we did not. Lovett might have had answers in his mind of what
I
happened.
was gonna say that
He
is.
kept them in his mind,
There's, I
so
do
no one
believe
could
that
heist them. No one could take them.
That's right.
I do believe that at a certain point we reference a crisis in a country that also had a crisis on the West Wing in
Right.
1600 Penn.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember what the name of the place was, but yeah.
I don't remember the name of it, but yeah, I mean, look, is this an alternate timeline?
Yes.
Kumar.
It was something like it was.
Hugh
Harold?
I just remember that someone who was into the show was very adamant.
No, yeah, no, yes. This was 600 Penn is, if nothing else, a show about alternate histories, and in that sense, would you say? I don't want to put words in your mouths, Benji and Dan, but when you look at the recent works of Quentin Tarantino, do you see that influence on his films? Because it's almost like he watched 600 Penn and went, "Oh, I could also take things that happened in the past and change them with different outcomes."
I think he was definitely watching.
Yeah.
I mean, you can read interviews with Tarantino. He talks about how he watches these like he was writing Once Upon a Time in Hollywood while watching
American Housewife.
American Housewife. There you go.
Yeah.
So, if he does that, I'm sure he was watching 1600 Penn.
Absolutely.
It seems extremely probable.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
What movie would he have been writing? Hateful Eight or Django? Where would that have fallen? Hateful?
I think it would have been Hateful, probably.
Writing Hateful Eight while he was watching this?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense when you think about it.
They're all stuck in a house.
Stuck in a building.
They're not getting along.
There's a building.
There's a building. That's it. That's all you need.
Family.
Now, people are also asking in the chat, this happened a while ago, I can't find the exact comment right now. Does Detective Pikachu exist in the 1600 Penniverse, and does 1600 Penn exist in the Detective Pikachu-verse?
Unbelievable question.
Oh, yes, of course. Of course.
Okay.
And in fact, we have that written into every project that we take on.
Yeah.
This is if you were to synchronize the episodes that Benji and I have written, produced episodes of television, and then watch Detective Pikachu, you would see continuities and carryovers that would absolutely blow your mind. Because in our mind, we don't see a Pokemon on the screen,
Right.
1600 Penn, but imagine the security risk of that.
Yeah.
There are good reasons that that's not happening.
Yeah.
Are they present? Are they outside the fence? Of course.
Look,
There's a refrigerator. There's a refrigerator downstairs and below the White House.
There's a lock on it. We're not going to see gourds. George, also...
It's full of gourds. That's why the lock is on it. And it has the White House logo on the side of it.
George, isn't there something you're supposed to be doing during this episode?
Not yet.
You know the moment you're waiting for?
I know it's not yet.
He's right. He's right. We'll worry about it later.
Okay, this is what I want to say to Benji and Dan. What you're describing is a real dress for the job you want sort of scenario, in which you were so confident that you would one day end up co-writing Detective Pikachu that you decided to preset everything else you wrote in the Detective Pikachu universe.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
You're telling me every other project was laying track for the things you would ultimately set into stone on Detective Pikachu.
That's what you have to do to be a master storyteller.
No,
The only way that I can describe it to you, Watto, is my favorite movie is called The Third Man.
Great film. Not as good as Detective Pikachu. Probably the second best
Second
noir
greatest,
mystery ever.
probably. But before Graham Greene could even write the screenplay,
right?
He said, "You know what? I need to write this as a novel.
Yes. Yes.
I need to perfect this on the page."
Yes.
And the screenplay of The Third Man, in my opinion, is the final draft.
This is much like A Few Good Men. You know, Aaron Sorkin writes it. People want to option it for a movie. And he said, we have to do it on the stage first. I want to work it out on the stage. People said, we'll bring you straight to the majors. We'll draft you out of high school, put you on the big screen. He said, no. It has to be perfect. Give me a dry run.
So, in much the same way, and yes, I mean, could people argue that this predates even the creation of Detective Pikachu? Sure, if you want to be pedantic, I suppose you could make that argument.
Who wants to be pedantic? Nobody.
No. But you had a feeling that game would be made at some point.
Fonzie.
Oh, Fonzie.
There you go. Wait, let's all do it. You ready?
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Winky.
Sit on it.
Oh, I thought we were all doing a Winkler.
I was going to hit a jukebox.
Wait, okay, so let's all do Winklers then. You ready? 1, 2, 3. Winkler. Great. Thank you.
So Winkler is actually the moment that Benji and I became men. Well, there was a scene. I'm not too proud to admit there was a scene that some people felt was not working on the set.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. We had been sent as the junior men on the project.
Junior G-men.
Junior G-men, just to kind of keep an eye on things. And all of a sudden, Henry Winkler and Josh, in the middle of shooting a scene, are saying, this scene does not work. Someone needs to rewrite it. And it was a moment in which you were looking around for someone else to take the lead on this until you realized, oh, I think they're talking to us.
It's us.
Wow.
And so Benji and I, as all of the cameras are rolling, Watto, you are a professional, you understand, we're burning time. Every minute we're not shooting.
Right.
Benji and I took a pencil, walked into another room on the set, and rewrote the scene as the actors and the crew were waiting. And it remains one of my. It was a very scary moment, but I mean, not to get too serious, but it was a very important moment in our lives, I think, in my opinion. And so I do have an affection for this episode for that reason.
God, Watto can't even imagine that. I mean, George, his scripts are so fine cut, so far in advance. Watto had so much prep time. Watto couldn't imagine doing an episode of television, let alone nearly 2 full seasons of television, in which every episode was being rewritten on an hour-by-hour basis, and most scenes shot were kind of cold reads. That I don't even know how an actor would function.
No, it's not done like that anymore.
Without having several mental breakdowns or some sort of psychosomatic slipping of discs in his back.
Luckily, people are not empowered to do that anymore.
No.
And that of course, that would never happen on a George script.
Never.
Because just the precision,
sound like it's tight. Also, doesn't matter. Just rewrite it later in the editing.
Right, that's the thing. George has the confidence of saying it doesn't matter what the people say on the day. All of that's a first draft.
Yeah.
And
so
if there is a problem in 20 years, I'll fix it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
With the current technology.
Right.
That's what George brings.
Yes. It's much better that way.
Also, you have to have the confidence. Like, if it's not working on the first day, just release it in theaters.
Yes.
Just release it. You can fix it later. Like,
you can take 40 years working on it. The fact that it's been released means nothing. It's not finished.
Nobody in their right mind goes to a movie and thinks this is the end. This is the final thing I'm looking at.
No one has ever paid money, gone to a theater, sat down with the expectations this is a finished product I'm watching. That's not how it works.
No.
Maybe if you are a crazy person, like someone in the National Film Registry,
right?
Who's like, give us your rough cut.
Those lunatics.
No, go to Disney Plus, watch the McClunky cut. You'll see it. It's there and it's done.
It takes as long as it takes. It's like wine. You have to just let it age, and you have to sort of feel it out and go, I think this is the time to bottle it.
We shall drink no wine before it's time.
Right, you'll take a couple sips to test it and go, give it another 10 years.
No, release this all over the world. It's not ready.
I've occasionally gone to a film and said, I can't wait for when they get this right.
Yes.
That's a good movie. I mean, to me, that's a high bar.
Right.
Yeah. imagine how good The Departed is going to be in a few years.
I know that. I remember seeing Parasite and walking out and going, God, how good is that thing going to be for?
Hang on, guys. I do want to take a moment. I believe Amara Miller right now is wearing it's another pair of overalls. I'm not sure if it's the same pair, but I'm pretty sure it is.
It might be. It's a different raglan sword.
But no, look, it has the same. It has the same.
I think it's the same
pocket. This might be in 2 episodes, guys.
Oh, it's an iconic.
It's a recurring.
It's recurring. It has an arc.
These overalls are in more episodes than Rory O'Malley.
Did you get our costume designer to come onto this live stream?
I didn't.
No one would come on.
I tried.
Patrick asked truly almost everyone.
I do want to bring something up. I don't want to be controversial.
Okay.
But I do think in the Penn community,
Penheads. You're talking about Penheads.
The Penheads, of course.
Yeah.
Patrick's drive to get more followers was not met with full open arms.
He's something of a controversial figure amongst
which is
Penn.
fascinating.
It was, some people felt, oh, is Patrick just using 1600 Penn to get that shine?
Sure.
But why, if that was all he was doing, would he organize a marathon day where all we do is talk about 1600 Penn? This is not going to cause a single person to stop following 1600 Penn on Twitter.
In fact, I want to say this, and I'm not happy about it.
Their follower count has gone up.
Their follower count.
Of course it has. Of course it has.
It's a big bump. This is the most activity they've had.
Including a few people who worked on the show who I was surprised didn't follow it before.
They didn't know the account was still up. Patrick is actually in the process of engaging in an amazing marketing campaign for the 1610 Twitter account.
Yeah. Chris Matthews is described as irascible by Henry Winkler's character. He's recently resigned on air due to an apparent scandal behind the scenes. I will say, at NBC 1600 Penn has gained followers since Patrick organized this.
Do not.
He's
Can
the
you
last
repeat that one more time?
He is the last person who should be accused of. He's the one shining a bright, hot spotlight on an inactive Twitter account. I actually think we are within perhaps hours, potentially, of a new tweet from that account. It could happen.
I mean, let's say, how great would it be to identify who still has the login information for that account?
Who has the login? Can we get them on the show?
I'm trying to even just think through what is the way
Hang on.
to best identify who would have the login.
I think probably whoever runs the NBC Twitter account.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I know the password for their Twitter account.
At NBC.
Okay, so here we go. Hang on.
The password for the account is 2 gourds.
Here, guys, if you guys want to find out, let's tweet this. And we'll see what people say. We'll see if we can get a response. I really want to get a response.
Okay.
Put the fear of God in them. Put hashtag 2 gourds because that's the password.
Wait.
That's the password to their Twitter.
Make sure you put a period before the at.
Yeah, period. Yeah, so everyone who follows you can see this tweet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not just those who already follow at NBC or at NBC 1600 Penn on Twitter. Ooh, look at those toys. There's a Noah's Ark toy, which is a reference to Fantasia 2000, a segment in which Donald Duck replicates the famous Bible story of Noah.
For all we know, a segment that might be remade in live action with Nicolas Cage.
Very likely. But please make National Treasure 3 first.
Yeah.
Then Fantasia.
That was a while ago, guys. You missed that.
Sorry, guys. That was a while ago.
All I'll say is I just hope that Patrick isn't sowing the seed of his own greatest enemy coming back after having been defeated.
Look, I'll say, friendly competition is a great motivator for creativity. I mean, you could say, oh, Patrick is antagonistic towards the 1600 Penn Twitter account, but this might be the thing that finally wakes the sleeping giant out of slumber and create a new tweet.
But I think this is basically the same thing, and this is not a slight against the account or the show. It's basically like me being antagonistic against a wall, because nobody's seeing the antagonism.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's why we got to tweet at NBC.
Wait, like one of the walls from National Treasure?
Yeah, do you guys know this?
Do you know this?
The Oval Office in 1600 Penn, the walls are from National Treasure 2 Book of Secrets.
I did know that, but not just National Treasure 2 Book of Secrets. Also, what was it?
I heard the pilot. The pilot is from West Wing, and then the rest of the show was National Treasure.
There was another composite within that.
The Gina Davis one.
Yes.
Oh,
Commander in Chief.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Built on the bones of other projects.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, I do remember that because there was still a post-it that said Commander in Chief on certain parts of the Oval set.
And there was also a huge graffiti tag that said Gina was here. WZ.
Gina
UZ,
was
right?
Here.
Yeah.
And then Mensa underlined.
Man.
Man, really.
And then she shot an arrow into it.
Right through it.
Yeah.
Unbelievable performer.
Oh, Gina.
Have we burned that ask? Have we tried to get Gina Davis on one of these?
What
burn that ask?
Are people continuing to donate?
They're
done. They don't.
No. We have to drive more donations. Patrick, bring the screen up.
We're at 388461.
Ooh.
We're so close to George having a doctor make a house call.
Yes, he's going to eat those beans, Dr. Beans. And
Dr.
let's also
Beans.
say, at 4,592, we officially extend this live stream by over 2 hours so we can watch National Treasure 2 Book of Secrets.
With
Amara.
With Amara.
Mara has
Miller
specifically
will
asked
come
to come back to watch National Treasure with us.
Yeah, and possibly Benjamin as well. He seemed interested.
He seems like he might have something better to do.
Yeah, he looked like he was interested until he found out that it might also be today.
Like, this is a solid backup for him. Like, he'll do it if the other thing falls through.
Well,
Winkler is good, guys. Winkler is a good actor.
Do you have any sort of good Winkler stories? Because
I mean,
Winkler has a reputation of being one of the absolute top tier, nicest men in show business. Right?
He showed up to the set with fresh baked cookies for the crew.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Not only did he come with fresh baked cookies for the crew, there's a scene with kind of a lot of extras. He went around before shooting started and he introduced himself to every single day player and said, "Hi, my name is Henry. I'm really excited to be working with you today."
Oh my God.
And I'm not talking like 2 people, 3 people. I mean like 20 or 30 people.
Wow.
That sounds like it could start to be a problem. That's a lot.
Could that push you behind on schedule while we wait for him to introduce himself to every single
George,
person?
he had time. He had time because they had to rewrite the scene.
Yeah, they were rewriting.
He had time. But it's that type of nice.
But it does start to sound a little insane when you picture it. Like you hear it to you. He says, "Hi, I'm Henry. I'm so excited to be working with you." And you're like, "Oh, that's wonderful." And then he goes to the person right next to you and says the same thing. And you see him do it 30 more times.
Yeah.
At a certain point, it starts to wonder.
But
Henry Winkler,
he got to find him up.
Yeah.
So not only that,
wow.
One of the amazing things that happened was a lot of the Teamsters, the union guys, the set movers would approach him as if approaching, a demigod like figure.
Yeah.
Huge guys that are, very physical and moving the sets and whatever, all that stuff. And
they all bend the knee to
they
him.
bent. Well, he was so gracious
Yes.
in that moment.
Lots of respect. Yes.
This is you're the reason that I bought a motorcycle. Like,
George, nice sweater, George.
That kind of stuff.
Guys,
that's a really nice sweater, George.
Yeah, it's the
Beautiful.
sweater that Amara wears. I have the outfit that Amara wears in this episode. She's wearing it on screen right now.
Oh my God! Now Patrick is
Wow.
wearing the outfit that Amara wore in the ranch episode. George is wearing the sweater that Amara wears in this episode.
Wow.
Wow, George, it fits great too.
What a snug. I feel like George's face is already getting redder, as if circulation is being cut off. And you're wearing the pants too?
Oh, George.
Now, George, can I say, wait, George, back up again for a second. This look with
you look like Winnie.
Pants, do you know what he looks like? Are you and I about to say the same thing, Patrick?
You want to say it on 3?
Yes.
1, 2, 3. Winnie
Donald
the Pooh.
Duck. What do you think he looks like?
Winnie the Pooh.
They're the same color palette, right? Oh no, you're right. It's Pooh. It's Pooh. I was getting things confused.
Wow.
It's Pooh. He looks like Pooh. Little stubby yellow legs poking out from underneath.
That is the actual costume.
Yes. Screen worn.
Screen worn.
Well, can we, Patrick, check the money, because I think something may have happened.
Oh wow! Hang on 1 second.
Wow.
Whoa! Okay, let's update. Here we go.
Wow.
Unbelievable. I mean,
what an incredible collector's item.
The odds of both George and Patrick purchasing screen-worn outfits from 1600 Penn. Those must have been the only 2 available on the internet.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll ever see a screen-worn outfit again. Anyway, let's get ready to watch the next episode.
Okay, hang on. Here we go. We have hit 4,125, which means George needs to have a doctor make a house call.
Doctor going to make a house call.
And now I'll say we are within spitting distance of National Treasure Book of Secrets.
We're so close.
Spitting distance.
We're within spitting distance of George reinflating BB-8. We're in spitting distance of National Treasure Book of Secrets.
Okay. Let's start this episode.
Okay.
Actually, let's wait 1 minute and then we'll start the episode.
I got to say, no, what are you going to say? No, more
I was
important.
just going to ask him how the pants feel.
The pants, well, this is, I want to say, right now in Marin County, temperature is 90 degrees.
Yeah.
I'm outdoors.
Yeah.
I'm wearing a young girl's sweater and jeans over my clothes.
Yeah.
This is very warm. It holds in the heat, this sweater. It holds in the heat. If it was cold, I would be this would be a great outfit. It is very hot.
Now, George,
It's like an insulated travel coffee mug.
I knew it would be hot, so I bought a fan specifically for this because I knew I would be sweating too much.
I made Star Wars and Indiana Jones, so I need another fan like I need a hole in the head.
So true.
Wow.
Well,
so it's time for me to heat up these beans.
Yeah, go heat up those beans, but leave the pants on.
Is that a paraphrase of The Godfather?
No, it's not. Wow. Let's start this one.
Heat up the beans, but leave the pants on. That's not from The Godfather.
What a day it's been.
What a day.
Isn't that from The Godfather? I swear I did second unit on The Godfather. That's not from The Godfather? Heat up the beans, leave the pants on.
Clemenza.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clemenza.
I'm glad you know, George.
All right. Is it dinner, bath, puzzle? Is that the next thing?
Yeah. You guys are welcome to keep hanging out, or if you got to bail, you feel free to go. But
I think I have to go take care of my children.
That makes sense.
But,
The show is about family. Benji, can you do a magic trick real quick? Just a real quick magic trick.
Is there any quick sleight of hand trick you could do on camera?
Whoa! Wait, we need to get that full screen. Hang on, Benji. One more time. Full screen.
I can't repeat a trick.
Yes, you can.
No, he can't.
2 decks of cards.
No, he
inside
can't.
of him.
Okay, that's it.
He can't. If he had another trick, that'd be fine. But he can't repeat that one.
2 decks of cards inside of a human body would kill a man.
Yes, Patrick, don't be unreasonable.
All right, bye, guys.
Bye.
What an exit.
Oh, his second trick, he disappeared.
That was fucking unbelievable.
What
Wow.
an exit.
Like Watto said that, and he thought Benji might scramble and then look around his environment for a moment and then come back.
Cards. He must have eaten those cards before we even began watching the episode.
Man.
Go back and watch the archive on YouTube later and notice if he sounds like he has a mouthful of playing cards.
No, but that's if we've learned anything from Dan and Benji today. The secret to a successful career is laying the runway years in advance.
Years in advance.
All right, guys. Before we start episode 11, I have a guest I want to bring in.
Right.
He he was an executive producer and showrunner for 1600 Penn.
What?
Mike Royce.
Mike Royce.
Royce.
That's right.
Mike
Hello.
Royce. Hello.
How's everybody?
This is the big fish.
This is the big fish. Yeah, look at this the sweatshirt.
Yeah, hold on. Where's the logo?
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Wow,
That's
that's
right.
the swag. That's the swag.
Sorry, I didn't want to big time you, but
Now, Mike, I can't help but notice over your shoulder a poster for One Day at a Time.
not only over my shoulder do I have a poster for One Day at a Time, but I also have
Oh,
Now,
and that is
seems
yes.
it seems like you can't get rid of this guy. He's sticking to you like bubble gum on the bottom of your shoe.
That is correct. He, we've had our we did One Day at a Time together, then we parted, and he made some of the biggest mistakes of his life by going to another show. But then we reunited very happily for 3 of the greatest seasons of television ever.
Yeah.
In addition to 1600 Penn.
Right.
Yeah, no, not 600.
Right.
Look at those Rotten Tomato scores for One Day at a Time. You'll see a rare 3 numbers for 100.
That's right. There was one dickhead in season 1 who somehow gave us an unfresh or whatever.
Dan, I feel like there was one other season of television you worked on a different series that also got 100 on Rotten Tomatoes. Am I wrong about this?
Central Park.
I feel like there was maybe a third TV show that you wrote on that had a season that got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I mean, the most popular and successful show on Amazon, The Tick.
Never heard of it.
What many people were saying was a show that only got better season to season, and after the second season, it really had found its voice and was beginning to fly.
People thought it, much like Watto, was uncancelable. But
yes, people thought they went, this is the Watto of television.
Well, the fact that we're talking about 1600 Penn, a show that died prematurely, goes to show you that this crazy Mike Royce can tell you more. Mike Royce has made more great shows than anyone, and sometimes
a legend.
And these days, TV shows never truly die.
I can't sit here and I'm a turducken of promotional items. That's what's happening today.
Now talk about the show canceled before its time. You did 2 seasons of that?
There were 2 seasons of that.
Good show.
Thank you. It's now on HBO Max. I can't stop promoting anything.
Yeah. Let's start this episode. Let's start up the
Okay, I'm gonna start on my TV.
Okay. Let me know.
My daughter has risen from the crib, so I must away.
That's fair.
But thank you, everyone, for raising so much money for an awesome cause. Thank you, Watto.
Thank you, Dan.
You're the best from the biz, Dan.
Mike, I'll see you on the other side.
Thank you so much, Dan. We'll see you.
Bye, guys.
All right. Let me know when you guys are ready.
And Mike, you'll have to forgive me. I'll have to leave the stream for just a moment to satisfy one of our stretch goals. I have to heat up this can of Dr. Pepper beans.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you? Let's
ready?
Yep, I am ready in 1, 2, 3. Mike, I had a question. Shoot, what was it? People mentioned that you worked on Spin City a little bit.
Yeah, I was I was a warm-up comic for Spin City.
Oh wow.
Yes, for 3 seasons, I yelled at people to laugh harder and threw candy at them.
Now, I don't know if you know this, but one of our good friends on this show is Michael Boatman.
Oh, fantastic.
The king.
Amazing. Yes.
Yeah.
The one scene, they let me do a scene as an actor. And I mean, in terms of they let me, it was actor fantasy camp for me to be in a scene. And it was playing Michael Boatman's boyfriend for the episode.
Wow.
I must have been killed after that because they never saw me again.
But that's a real honor. I mean, to be brought on screen and be told, this guy was able to bag Boatman. That speaks a lot.
That's right.
To the character and the abilities of that man.
We are at 4181 right now for the museum moving image.
Wow.
We're getting there.
I want to throw out the new number, okay?
Okay. Yeah.
4,800.
Yep.
That is 3 1600s.
Yes.
And so to commemorate it, Mike, at 3,200 or 3356, Watto drew famed magician and libertarian Penn on his forehead.
That's a beautiful tribute.
Thank you. Because you understand his name is spelled the same way as the address, the title of this series.
You know, I did understand that, and yet I didn't make the connection, so thank you.
Well, that's the problem. Watto feels like now it's lacking context. So I want to say at the number 4,800, Watto will draw Teller.
Wow. Do we want to say where?
On his cheek.
On his cheek. Okay, great.
He'll draw Teller on his cheek.
Great. And then Watto, not that he would have been leaving the house a lot before this, but definitely cannot for a few days.
Watto is terrified about going outdoors. It feels like there are no negative consequences to doing this for charity.
So, Mike, how did you get involved with this show? We'll leave George's camera up.
1600 Penn is actually the first and only show I ever was the showrunner of that I didn't create. Like, I wasn't around for the pilot.
Sure.
I was like a hired gun. I had a deal with 20th Century Fox, and I had a pilot that year, and my pilot didn't get picked up. So then suddenly I was an experienced showrunner hanging around.
Yeah.
And Jason Weiner and John Lovett and Josh Gad had a meeting with me, and after that I came on board. And I always like to say they saved me because I was a broken man. My pilot didn't get picked up, and this show I was still heartbroken about getting canceled. Yeah. And I had been doing a dramedy for a long time, so I didn't know what jokes were anymore.
Sure.
So they let me get up to speed by pretending to be in charge for a while.
Yeah, that's cool. What year did Men of a Certain Age? Was that 2010? Did it end?
The seasons were on basically 2009 through 2011.
Okay. Yeah. Now the episode we're watching now, directed by Gail Mancuso. The best. One of the best.
Amazing. Yes.
Yeah. Something we talked about earlier was the fun guest stars, and how even though this was season 1, you guys would write something like, we'd love Bruce Campbell, but we probably won't get Bruce Campbell. And then you got Bruce Campbell.
Yes.
Like, what was the experience like of getting cool people like that? Is that a fun thing?
Yes, it was. I mean, it was great. We have a whole, I was looking through some of my old pictures today. We have a whole story written for Anne Hathaway. Like, we beat out a whole story, but we didn't get her.
Wow.
Yeah.
But Bruce Campbell was, a huge thing. I didn't actually go on set as much for this show as I mostly do on other shows, because again, Jason was always there, and for that matter, Josh was there a lot, and the writer would cover the set. So I missed some of the big, some of the more celebrity-oriented things, but I did go down and say hi to Bruce Campbell, which I'm sure he remembers.
Yes, it's very fun.
Okay, so George now has a bowl of Dr. Pepper branded beans.
I have to say, I really regret, this was my idea. And I had no idea what, because when I saw that these existed, I thought, I like Dr. Pepper, I like beans.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, I wonder what those would be like together.
What do they smell like, George?
They smell horrible. Like, they truly smell. I don't know what, I'll see when I taste them what I can compare the smell to, but I don't have a point of reference to compare. They don't smell like Dr. Pepper, and they don't smell like beans.
Okay.
Oh, God.
This is like a product, though. This is not your own
No, I didn't make this. Although there are recipes online for people who use Dr. Pepper in barbecue.
George has created some fantastical things in his time, but not even he would imagine Dr. Pepper flavored beans.
Did you eat it, George?
I took the first bite.
It looks like you ate literally one bean.
No.
Oh man.
Maybe it's better if you drink Dr. Pepper with it.
Maybe it's better if you put some crunch on it.
Just take a bite, George. Just take a bite. Oh, George.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh yes. So
Oh,
anyway,
God.
Mike, what was the day-to-day like on working on this kind of show? What is the
It
day-to-day?
was a lot like this. It was people eating weird shit and
Yes,
Sure.
this is
pitching
sort of
jokes.
workplace environment.
Yes. It was great. It was. I mean, I checked in during the day. I saw you had Laura Guten on, who's a fine young woman who's a fantastic writer. Peter Knight, and Dan and Benji, and all these. We had all these great writers. For me, it was the first writer's room that I went into where everybody was not just younger than me, but like markedly, like a very embarrassing amount. Where suddenly, because men of a certain age, we had kind of an old, we were in that age group. So suddenly I became very quickly the old man telling the boring stories.
Yeah.
That, of course, they work, sort of nominally for me. So they have to pretend to laugh at. And I got used to that and realized this is great because I can keep talking. They have to laugh, essentially. But no, it was great. There was like all those writers are doing like super great things now. Sanjay Shah's running Central Park that Dan mentioned.
Oh yeah, oh that's awesome.
And it's it was fantastic.
It's a lot of people who were known at the time on this show who I feel like have blown up since. Like I feel like Gad is so much bigger, Robbie Amel's bigger, Andre Holland. Like there's so many people that are really working.
Well, yeah, Gad was huge.
Yes, yeah.
Then we brought him back to earth on the show.
Yes.
And then he blew up again afterwards.
Yeah.
So we just reset expectations for him.
Yeah.
He wanted to get humbled a little bit.
Yeah.
He said, I need a quick reset before I become the most successful cartoon character in the world.
How much time do you spend on the set versus in the writer's room?
I like to be on the set like as much as possible. And now, with one day at a time, it's a multicam, so it's a whole different, it's like a play. You're watching rehearsals you're there all the time. But for single cam, it's I like to be there as much as possible because you never know. I mean, you go through a lot of meetings and with the director, but if you're not there, you feel like I'm always the guy who's in the editing room and like shit, why didn't we get this or that or this or that? And then often I realize, I was actually there for that and it's all my fault. So at least if I'm there, I can blame myself.
Yeah. Do you remember, this is a question I don't think we've asked, were there any stories that you guys really wanted to get done on the show that you didn't get a chance to?
For 1600 Penn?
Yeah.
It's
okay if you don't remember any, but
I feel like there was one. I can't remember. No, I don't. There's not one I remember. The thing about this episode that we're watching now is that this is the one very few times in my career, not because I'm awesome. Well, maybe because I'm awesome. I've had to throw out a script very few times, maybe once or twice. This was actually not a script that got thrown out. This was an outline that took forever to write. That once we got it was actually getting very close to shooting it, and we didn't have a script yet. And the outline just didn't work. And so we, as a room, actually wrote it as a group.
Wow.
Which happens a lot on shows. I take pride in it not happening to shows I work on because I like to be prepared and ahead and, awesome. But this was like, we just threw the whole thing out and took a couple pieces and started from scratch. And then it turned into one of my favorite episodes. And everybody there pitched it like it was just an amazing feat by the writers to make it not just an episode that got shot and like we made it, but like it was a really great one.
That's very cool.
I'll tell you what these are like. These are like if if Dr. Pepper was a person,
Yeah,
he was in your house,
Mhm.
but you couldn't see him, and he was running around your house screaming as loud as he could, so loud it was hurting your ears, but you couldn't tell who it was or what it was, and every now and then he jumped out and yelled, "I'm Dr. Pepper," and then immediately was gone.
Wow.
That's what these taste like. Every now and then they do taste like Dr. Pepper, but it's like if Dr. Pepper jumped out and didn't just identify himself, but stabbed you
Yes.
and said, "I'm Dr. Pepper." And before you could look around to see who it was, the screaming, the distant screaming continues. That's what these beans taste like.
wow, George.
That sounds
They-
like a
They
bad
hurt.
doctor.
They hurt when you're not eating them.
Yeah,
You eat them and they taste terrible. But when you
Yes.
stop eating them, your mouth starts to hurt.
It sounds like it's almost like a rapidly habit-forming drug. Almost like you're no longer eating them for enjoyment. You're eating them just to get even.
I've never felt like this. I feel like
Yes.
you start out and you are eating the beans, and very soon after that, you realize the beans are eating you.
Yes. No, sounds very much like heroin.
Peter, the sets are so great.
Mm.
Like we've been
the
talking
sets,
about
yeah.
it. The sets are insane.
Look at this bathtub. Jesus
yeah.
Christ.
Do you know the history of the Oval Office set? Because this is something we've been talking about all day.
Oh, yes.
I do know a little bit. It went a bunch of different. Where did it go? It went some places afterwards where it was like, how the fuck did it end up there?
Okay, we know where it was before, but we've heard no stories about where it went after. This would be
Well,
a
you could be
scoop.
right. You actually could. No, I'm pretty sure it went somewhere after. It went to a show.
So we know. We'll say before where we know it's from.
We know
Okay.
2 places it's been.
The pilot was from partially from West Wing, and then the series, the walls, I guess, were from.
But that's
West
only the pilot. Then
Only the
it was made.
Okay. Right. That makes sense. Okay. Yeah.
Series was from National Treasure 2: Book of Secrets, and the Gina Davis TV show Commander in Chief.
Yes. That.
Okay. So
Wait,
that one you remember.
I thought it went to Commander in Chief after, like, because
Great question. Let's look
Commander
it
in
up.
Chief was like 2006 or something. It was earlier.
I wonder if it went to
Somewhere afterwards.
Designated Survivor. Did it go to Designated Survivor?
That's a 20th Century Fox. Oh wait, Designated. Is that the shit?
Yeah.
Kiefer Sutherland?
Yeah.
Look it up.
I'll bet that's where it went because it was a beautiful set. It was
gorgeous.
They made the White House. I don't know what came from where beforehand, but they made from scratch like these columns and like I just remember Jason Weiner starting to talk to me about scalloped window treatments, and I was like, I'm out of my.
And this was all. And you could have done all of this in the parking lot of the office building in front of a green screen. You didn't have to build practical sets, but you did it. You did
Well,
it.
we there was a show at the time that was like a multicam about a president, more historically accurate because I believe it was a black family comedy, and I think it was a Tyler Perry show.
Yeah.
But that budget was somewhere in that area where they were in front of a green screen. They last longer than we did. So who's to say?
Sure.
Set wise, what the secret is.
I mean, George's advice is always just find the green screen.
Find the green.
And place that green screen in either Australia or England, where it's easier to work around actors' unions.
Yeah.
That's the key.
That's right. That's right. You can get over the flight.
Yes, right. It's cheaper to pay for the flight than it is to pay an actor a proper wage. And Watto learned that the hard way. He literally fucking made me on a computer so that he didn't have to pay someone to show up on set.
Well, as always, George Lucas, all credit to him, saw what is the future of acting.
Oh, he nailed it. Yes.
Pixels on a screen.
Now, wait, Mike, this is a question I have for you. So one day at a time, it was a big story. You did an animated episode because you could not finish production for live action episodes during coronavirus.
That's right. It was not a fuck you to the actors. It was
because
of the pandemic. That's right.
Right,
Not like what we were talking about.
Right. Now we have been talking about, in the Fox acquisition, Disney now owns 1600 Penn.
It's a Disney property.
It's a Disney property, and Disney is trying to revive all these Fox properties, find ways to reboot them, expand them. So we've been pitching this idea because I don't know if you know this.
Yeah.
Little Benjamin is now an animator.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
He's studying to be a professional animator. So he was on earlier, and we were brainstorming with him, and we said, what about you do a reboot, continuation of 1600 Penn, animated, called 1600 Watto, in which Watto is the president, but the two Gilchrist kids are now aged up on it.
Okay. Right. So continuous, like it was President Gilchrist.
Yes.
And then it's now President.
And Watto enters as this kind of out of left field populist.
Right. And Xander Gilchrist is his sort of John Lovett, if you will. He's right. He's doing the messaging for Watto. But on the other hand, Marigold Gilchrist is the protester outside of the White House.
Right.
No, I don't like it. So that's maybe some of the other legacy characters return, but we do it animated, so no one's in danger.
No, I'm warming to this because I'm very much a fan of animation now, and I want to. It's the only thing you can get done.
Exactly.
The
and the idea that Benjamin would play kind of the Michael J. Fox to your Michael Douglas,
right?
Yeah,
but animated.
Yes.
And Mike, we can give you. I don't want to offer that. Watto, George, we haven't talked about this.
Okay.
If we make this happen, I feel like Mike automatically gets the EP credit.
Absolutely. Your grandfather didn't.
Your grandfather did.
Yeah.
I just. First of all, I want to say that's very generous, and I also want to say that creatively, I'm happy to just be an observer.
Okay.
Look,
or dig in.
Call. It's your call. You're getting the checks either way.
Yeah.
If you want to work for it, that's fine. If not, Watto wouldn't blame you.
Now, of course, Disney. There's complicated politics because Disney always weighing their options.
Yes.
And another project under the Disney umbrella that is very much in motion. Under consideration is 1600 Pinocchio.
Holy wow! I saw stuff about that on Reddit, but I didn't think it was a real thing.
Now, Mike, I would be remiss not to mention, because it is 8:39 where we are right now. You're in Los Angeles 3 hours earlier, but still the 39th minute of the hour. Actually, I think it just turned to the 40th minute of the hour. But I'm sure you loved, especially at a time where it is impossible to have cameras rolling on a scripted series, you love just having this one day at a time episode animated and then just released out into the world on a streaming service, right?
Yes, not on a streaming service, but yes.
Right, yes. Yeah. Pop TV.
Yes, now, exactly.
Mike, what would you say if I told you, and this is 100% true, that around the same time that you folks are hard at work on 1600 Penn, making episodes, having them air, George Lucas self-financed and self-produced 39 episodes of an animated series. This is 100% true. The real George Lucas, who is here on this live stream,
Lucas, right here.
Yeah.
Produced, self-financed 39 episodes of a show called Star Wars Detours, and you would like this, Mike, because it's like Star Wars but very fun.
Oh, funny Star Wars? I mean, that's the dream, right?
Yes, yeah. Funny.
That's like sexy pizza.
Right. It's Dr. Pepper beans. It's the two things.
How do you improve something that's already perfect?
Yeah.
The natural matching. So he produces this show, says, I'll just make it. I'm so confident that there's an audience for this. I'll make it and I'll sell it to someone later. But around the time they finish production, Disney comes sneaking in, trying to steal Lucasfilm. So he goes, well, good news, at least, silver lining here. Disney loves releasing animation. It's their favorite thing to do is release animation for people to see. Maybe they put it in a vault for a minute only to take it back out. It always comes out.
Right.
Yeah. This shit's been sitting on a shelf for almost a decade. I swear to God, Mike, this thing is real.
39 episodes. That is, in running time, that's more Star Wars than I actually directed.
Can you imagine being Disney in this climate, having full ownership of 39 episodes of a Star Wars show, having a streaming service and going, "No, we're good. We're not."
It must be nice to be so comfortable.
It's not on. You're saying it's not on.
It's never been seen.
Never been released.
It's never aired.
I paid for it. Completed it. It's complete. 3 seasons.
Mike, we have it on our hard drives. It was smuggled out.
Drive.
We can send it to you if you don't believe us. But the thing has never seen public eyes.
I please send it to me. I don't want to be trusted with. I mean, I would probably try to upload it illegally somewhere.
I would love that. We would love that. We just don't want to be guilty ourselves.
Now, Mike, before George, do you want to bring up your question that you had to Mike?
Mike, yes. In an early episode of 1600 Penn.
Oh, this is a huge question.
Oh.
There is a scene in the residential part of the White House where the Gilchrists are, where they eat their meals. Yeah, like it's where their little kitchen area is, where they have their breakfast and such.
I believe this was episode 2. This was the Skiplantic Ocean.
Oh, I wrote that episode, so I should really know this.
Okay, so we've been digging for this answer for hours now, and you might finally be the one person with a lead on this. Okay.
All right. A refrigerator door is open at one point, and we see inside the refrigerator some large bottles of syrup. Now, these are part of the plot. The syrup is then poured onto a breakfast item.
Right.
But on a higher shelf in the refrigerator, framed so that you can't look away from them, are 2 gourds. Possibly 2 squashes?
Okay.
Squashes? Squash? What's the plural of squash? 2 squash?
Squish?
2 squish?
But Amara confidently called them gourds.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I think they're gourds. We think they're gourds.
She remembered acting with them.
Right.
But no one can
referring to the 2 actors in a derisive.
Hey, come on, Mike. This isn't warm up for Spin City. Holster those jokes for 1 minute. This is a very serious line of questioning.
So I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Mike,
I'm rusty.
It's in your bones. You can't turn it
I haven't been out of my
off.
house in so long.
You can't turn it off.
How about the right side of the room? Can you make some noise?
Hey, come on.
I'm flashing back now.
Come on.
Okay.
Do you have a draft of that script accessible? Do you recall?
If you give me 1 30
I'll give you as much time as you need.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm curious whether you wrote into the screen directions. We open on a refrigerator door.
I don't need to look. I don't need to look. Yeah.
Did you write about the gourds? Did you write the gourds in?
George is trying to understand who created the gourds, who brought them into this universe, and what was the deeper meaning.
Was this just a piece of set dressing that someone wrote, I have 2 gourds? They're just like, put them in the refrigerator. Or was this carefully plotted out from the first draft when you wrote it, that they would have 2 gourds?
And once again, he's been harping on this for roughly 6 hours now, asking every single guest if they have any memory.
I could show you in Star Wars where I wrote that there were 2 suns on the horizon.
Let him answer, George.
It's not known about me, but I have a 2 gourd minimum any show I run.
Wow.
So it has to be.
There it is. Okay.
No, I'm gonna backtrack.
No, that was another Spin City.
Spin City.
Yeah, it was endless jokes that I have. I want to see that so badly right now, and I don't have it in front of me because I know you're right. I wish I knew. I'm going to attribute it to Jason Weiner.
Okay.
Is he going to be on? Because you can. I feel like he's the one to question.
Hey, we got 2 more episodes. We'll see.
I'm trying to help you out. I'm being very serious right now instead of making all the jokes that I'm.
No, I appreciate it. We can tell you're deathly serious right now, and I feel like we are getting closer to an answer.
Jason
Weiner. It was episode 3. So you don't want to dance. It was the 3rd episode.
Oh, I did not write that one.
So that was a.
I do know the scene you're talking about, though. I do know the scene you're talking about.
It was the same episode that had a reference to Queen Amidala.
Wow.
So it could be the. All right, hold on.
Jason Weiner is meticulous about his direction and set decoration and whatever is in the frame. I think he did direct that one. I'm almost positive. I could be wrong. Oh no, wait, he did. I don't think he did.
Oh, no, it was. That's a Weiner. That's a Weiner.
That's a Weiner? Are
yes.
you sure?
Yes.
Okay.
Directed by Weiner, written by Joe Port and Joe Wiseman.
Yes, Port and Wiseman. Yes. Okay. Also, Port and Wiseman. Are they? I mean, they're the writers, so they can,
All right. Well, we'll see. I mean, we'll see who comes by. We're almost there. Mike, we should give you, before we let you go, we should give you a 1600 pen name.
Oh.
Now,
Wow.
Watto, will you explain quickly what this means?
Yes, this is a very advanced technology. Now, in the past, we've done live streams raising money where we're watching Star Wars, where we're watching Arliss, now 600 Pen, the 3 biggest media franchises. And so we like to make names. We used to do this by hand. It used to be analog. But now one of our viewers has made a website. This is a public website anyone can actually log on to, called 1600pen.me. So we used to take names, make them sound like a droid or an alien. Then we'd take names, we'd put different symbols that represent currencies in the name to make them like Arliss. And this is a mysterious website. We still don't quite understand how it works. But you put any name through it, and it turns it into a 1600 pen name.
Okay.
So it's a 2-step process. Mike, can you
verify
that there are no spelling errors in your name as it appears on screen right now?
That's it. You got it right. That's it.
Okay.
Next. Okay, now, Mike, how political are you on a scale of 1 to 4?
And be honest. Don't try to impress us. Be honest. It will fuck up the entire process if you lie. This is no room for virtue signaling.
I mean, I guess 3, pretty high, I would say. Yeah.
Okay.
That has been the most common answer. It sounds like.
Okay. I mean, I might say 4, but I don't want to I'm not trying to.
No, don't overshoot it.
Let's leave it at 3. We'll leave it at 3. All right, here we go. I'm going to click next. All right, Mike Royce, your 1600 pen name is 1600 Mike.
Wow.
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 I can see. I can't imagine what it would have said if I guessed a 4, because this is perfect. So
it would have been very different. Okay.
Wait, George, hang on. George has his 2.
Oh, these are the gourds?
No, it's the gourd.
Oh my God. What the fuck are those?
That is not a normal refrigerator.
Well, the lighting is very bad on the gourds.
But you understand why this has been haunting George for hours.
I will go to the ends of the earth to figure out.
No matter how far away I hold it, what do you see? You see those gourds. They're looking at you. Look at those gourds.
They're very much like the 2 suns over Tatooine.
Honestly, they kind of look like
they
kind of look like sunglasses, like the inside of the refrigerator is being cool.
Yeah. It looks like somebody, censored out something that wasn't supposed to be there.
Yes.
Like 2 blots or something.
Oh,
wow.
Maybe this. I don't want to start a conspiracy theory, but
hang on, here it is. Hang on, let's go to full screen on George. There we go. Gourds, cool gourds, cool gourds.
Oh, it's a cool refrigerator.
It's a cool refrigerator. Wow,
this is my impression of the inside of the Gilchrist presidential refrigerator.
That was our nod to CSI.
Oh boy, thank you. Mike, thank you so much for coming by.
Oh, this has been delightful. Thank you for giving me a reason to not be napping.
Yeah, that's a good thing to not have to do.
Hey, one of the hardest things to do these days is not nap. Truly.
Correct.
Here, let me give one last update on money before we let you go. We are at 4381.
Wow.
We're almost at National Treasure. We're getting there.
Oh, wait, bring it back up for a second. I just want to really see where we stand. Okay, 4381. So we're close to George reinflating the BB-8. We're close to National Treasure, and we're a little less close to Watto drawing Teller on his sheet.
Yes.
Wow.
Right. Thank you so much, Mike.
Thank you.
Mike.
Okay.
We'll see you soon. Stay safe.
Bye, Mike.